Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Q the A podcast. It's a podcast where we question answers and answer questions of things that we may or may not have once questioned or answered in this lifetime or century or
I know all the answers.
the last minute.
I'm full of answers.
You are the answer man.
UFOs real. Ghost real.
I think we've proven that on many of our episodes already, haven't we?
I mean, yeah.
Speaking of which, Bigfoot hit 500 today.
It's amazing how many people are still into Bigfoot. We need
Most
to have
popular.
we'll have another Bigfoot episode. I was looking at Bigfoot clips on YouTube the other day, and I was like, wow, they're still going. Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Good old
people
Bigfoot.
are still out there having what look like legitimate Bigfoot sightings.
People love the Sasquatch. And this week, we thought we'd bring something interesting to you. This week, we're going to talk about the Insane Clown Posse and they're in the Juggalos.
Little offbeat topic there,
A little
right?
offbeat topic, but very interesting stuff.
Man. I was like, when you brought that up to me, I was like, come on. Insane Clown Posse? I've heard of them. I've never looked into them, never heard their music.
So a lot of people have heard of them. So what are they? Well, first off, they're a band, like a rap group, sort of. And their fans are called the Juggalos, which is a play on the word juggala, like the juggler, which is one of their songs. It was yelled out at a concert, and it took off, became the Juggalos, and girls are the Juggalettes.
Yeah, they were like a rap group, but they sound like, what was that?
Cypress Hill.
Yeah, Cypress Hill.
Some of their stuff sounds like Cypress Hill. Some of their stuff kind of sounds like some kind of drunken ghetto carnival of something. It has a very unique sound, actually. I will give them that. Now, I've never really been a big fan of their music, but I have been quite a fan of just their whole. They get like a sort of almost a religious belief system, and they're kind of like Deadheads or Fish Kids or something. Like they're all obsessed with this one group, and they have this kind of weird like mystical understanding of it or something.
Yeah, they definitely remind me of Fish people.
Yeah, there's a definite connection. And I, of course, was one of them at one time. I was a Fish kid, following them around and obsessing over just their music.
Yeah, you were, weren't you?
I was.
You were a Fish kid.
Yeah. Now, Fish actually has their own sort of like mythos, like an epic tale from another dimension, battle of good and evil. We can talk about that sometime. But the
Insane Clown Posse calls himself like horrorcore or something, right?
Okay, so horrorcore is a type of music, generally rap, that it focuses on a lot of like disgusting, like violent lyrics, like psycho murderer stuff, and just really just gory, just bad stuff. I mean, beyond like, parental advisory, some of it you hear it and you're like, oh my gosh, like that. And as it's entertaining, keeps me on my toes. I like extreme stuff. It should be legal. First Amendment, you should be able to say anything you want. But I don't know if I'd want my kid listening to it until he's an adult, for sure. And I don't even think I'm that uptight. I mean, some of this stuff's pretty crazy. But they were originally called the Inner City Posse in Detroit. Yeah, they're from like the ghetto side of Detroit, and they then decided to change it up, and turn into these what they call wicked clowns. So you got Shaggy Two Dope. It's Joseph Bruce is kind of like the fat guy. His name's Violent J. And then you got Joseph Utzler, and he's Shaggy Two Dope, originally known as Two Dope. And they are the Wicked Clowns. And they've got this whole record label with like other rappers and artists who are also like wicked clowns. And of course, the Juggalos and the Juggalettes like to paint their faces and look like wicked clowns.
I kind of remember like people in high school and college in the 90s that were ICP fans, but I didn't know that they started in like 1985.
Did they? Because the first album was out in 92, which is still way back in the day.
It's still way back. Yeah, well,
I was 13 years old,
I don't think they were Insane Clown Posse in 1985, but they were like...
no, they were the Inner City Posse.
Inner City Posse, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which was still ICP, by the way. ICP, Inner City Posse. So I'm kind of, glad I didn't stumble upon their music when I was 13, because I might have gotten like really big into it.
Yeah, same here.
Instead, I was really big into Weird Al, which is a lot cleaner.
Yep. I was into Weird Al, man.
I might have been afraid of the Insane Clown Posse, actually.
I was also into Jeff Foxworthy. Remember that? Jeff Foxworthy back then?
The comedian, yeah. You might be a redneck if.
Yeah. I used to have a tape in my tape deck I would listen to over and over.
Good old Jeff Foxworthy. I heard he lives over there in the Country Club of the South. Isn't that precious?
Lives on this side of town. He used to
live
live
in
on
like Johns Creek.
Well, he is there now. He used to be on this side of town, like in West Cobb.
Okay, like Travis Tritt.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he lives 5 miles away from here.
Wonder if Travis Tritt ever performed with the Insane Clown Posse. I'm going to say not. So on their label, which they call Psychopathic Records, you also have Twisted, ABK, Boondocks, The Blaze, or not The Blaze, Blaze, and Dark Lotus. And then I think they all actually formed together as like a super group, and they're the Psychopathic Riders. Riders. Now, ICP, Insane Clown Posse, ICP, they also have something that they say. They say, whoop, 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 whoop. And that's spelled WHOOP exclamation point. And you say that twice. And I would say to you, whoop, whoop. And then you would say, whoop, whoop. I might say something like, are you down with the clown? And you may say back, oh, I'm down with the clown till I'm dead in the ground. And then I'd say, whoop, whoop. And then I'd say, we family, my ninja. A lot of talk about family. Every Juggalo is part of the family. They're all about acceptance. They are down with the clown.
What was that? We watched a documentary, or I did, that you turned me on to. It was on YouTube.
Yep.
And what was that thing called? It was like American.
There was an American Juggalo.
Yeah, American Juggalo. There's another one called American Psycho Tour documentary or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of ICP stuff on YouTube.
I couldn't believe. So, I mean, that was the first introduction I ever had to like Insane Clown Posse tour, like this, where everyone shows up like it's a NASCAR race and camps out for the weekend. And
yeah, it's a 3-day music festival with tons of bands and all kinds of stuff.
That's thrown by like the headliner is ICP, right?
Oh yeah, it's their thing, man.
So they just kind of like walk around. You'll hear like somebody will walk by and like, this is my brother right here. He's an ICP fan. Whoop whoop. And the other guy goes whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. I'm telling you, a lot of whoop whoop, man. And then people are just walking around naked.
Yeah, that's true.
Smoking weed. Everything's like wide out in the open. Drugs. There's like they love how there's like no, laws or rules. They're all completely safe from the outside world because a lot of them feel like kind of like outcast type of people, and I think they don't fit into society, and they all feel very like at home when they're around their family. Their Juggalo family. Right?
So they call them family.
I'm part of the Juggalos and Juggalettes for Life Facebook group. So I have, I'm pretty deep into checking that out. I'm a member. I don't really interact with them too much as I am not really a Juggalo.
Right.
But I never really listened to their music much. But this past 2 weeks as I've been lining up for this podcast, I probably listened to like 5 of their albums all the way through. And, they're not as good as I'd like them to be, but I was entertained by some parts of them. There was some merit there in some of them that I did not realize was there. So I got a better understanding of the band and their fans.
All the Juggalos that were listening just turned us off.
They might have, and I'm sorry, guys. Hey, I gave it a chance. I mean,
he doesn't like it.
I'm a Juggalo temporarily.
I think it's definitely something that you either like or you don't like.
Yeah.
But when I listen to it, I'm just like, it sounds like Cypress Hill. I mean, kind of sound like they were stealing Cypress Hill's thunder to me. Because I don't listen to lyrics. I usually listen to melody and song, not lyrics.
Well, in Cypress Hill, I mean, there was that was a common kind of sound back in the day. And in ICP's sound, Insane Clown Posse sound has changed over the years. They've got like probably 15 albums out over the course of 20 years 25 years now, so it's pretty, or maybe even 30 years. It's pretty kind of impressive when you look at it like that. I mean, I think these guys are actually really smart, and they know it's kind of ridiculous, like the stuff they do,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
But they still like it though. I mean, dude, it's stuff that they created when they were like in their late teens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're crazy party animals.
I loved watching some of those. I love watching some of those kids because the documentary that we watched was made in like '97.
Yeah, the MTV, what was that called? Shockumentary.
Yeah, it was funny because the kids were just like exactly the way I was when I was a teenager. You know, like rebelling against everything, having like pot leaves.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying, man. If we had gone to that show,
on the wall,
yeah, if we went to their concert and we were like 15, dude, we would have had a freaking blast. You know what I mean? Because another thing they do is they spray Faygo over the crowd the whole time. Everybody's spraying Faygo everywhere.
What is Faygo?
Well, Faygo is just some cheap soda from, the back streets of Detroit, and that's what they're used to growing up. So they started spraying it on the crowd, and the crowd got into it, and they started rapping about the Faygo, and so it's all about the Faygo these days. It has been. It's like an ICP thing.
It's like that. It's like that came from poor. Now I'm a rich rapper type of thing.
It's just a thing. It's weird. It's like this weird universe they've created. Like all these weird inside jokes, and inside like phrasings they'll say to each other. It really operates sort of like it is a cult. I mean, by definition, it's a group of people with specific like interests and beliefs, and they're all very uniform. But they're accepting. They're very accepting. So there was even like Juggalos for Christ was even there. I saw they were working the fields.
Oh, I did. I saw that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got this thing that they've kind of, it's part of their whole vibe. I guess is not the best word, but it's called the Dark Carnival. So Violent J one night had this dream that he was like approached by these beings or these entities. It sounds more almost like a vision, really, and they basically showed him this dark carnival where you there's like these beings that have these series of tests you go through, and like based on your
judgment, right?
Yeah, kind of like are you a good or bad person? Is what it comes down to, and if you're bad, you're gonna go to hell, but if you're good, you'll go to heaven, which they call Shangri-La. So they got these weird, what you said, horrorcore type lyrics. So they got all these songs that tell you about these 6 cards. The Dark Carnival is about 6 cards. At first, it was about 6 cards, and each card that was revealed, and I think they would reveal them all at the gatherings. Not the early cards, but the later cards. The gathering is the festival that you were describing.
Yeah,
the gathering of the Juggalo gathering, or gathering of the Juggalos, I think is the official name. But so the Joker cards, each one has like a character on it, and each one.
I remember a guy saying that he went to
He
went to the record store and he found a card, and then he went around the corner to the other side, and there was another card, like at a record store. And I didn't really know what he's talking about. Maybe you'll.
Yeah, he's just talking about the cover of the CD. The card had been revealed to him.
Okay.
Like they look at this like it's revelations or something, man. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it really is like a religion because they're believing in heaven and hell and God and the devil. The devil is like the Dark Carnival, which is like a representation of Earth. It's like this thing that can get you all distracted and make you make wrong choices and make you go to hell. Yeah. Is what they believe. So they these images of these. Can't even talk. Basically, it's a mythology, religion.
Yeah.
I got so many notes here. I'm having to look through it.
I mean, what is so you said it had 6.
So the 6 cards. Yeah, let's talk about the 6 cards. So the first album is called The Carnival of Carnage from '92. It's the first album. And it's a representation of the ghetto and the violence that occurs within. It takes the form of a traveling carnival which doles out the brutality on those who have ignored the inner city's cry for help. The card issues a warning to the upper class people and government's negligence towards the lower classes. Huh. So it's this crazy tale. It kind of sets the tone for like the Dark Carnival thesis, if you will.
Some guy said... a reviewer of that album He said it was a third-rate Beastie Boys album supported by a cut-rate Faith No More.
I think I might have read that. There's definitely some Beastie Boys kind of sounded wannabe. Limp Bizkit as well. And they did some stuff with Fred Durst actually in later years. Yeah, there's some good reviews out there.
That was not a good one.
They're a powerful force in the music industry that a lot of people don't realize how like big it really is. Like they get 100,000 people out at those gatherings.
Yeah, it has like 6 million records or something.
Yeah, like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second card was the Ringmaster. Came out in '94.
So they're just calling their cards CDs. That's basically it. Albums, they're cards.
Well, it's the cover, the graphic on the cover.
Okay.
Now the Ringmaster, he is the overseer of the entire Carnival of Carnage, and he leads the phantoms of the dead that take the form of the carnival. So the phantoms of the dead are like creating this false reality illusion. It's kind of like Buddhism, really, some of this stuff. The creatures fiercely tear doomed souls from their living bodies and drag them into hell. The Ringmaster himself is created through your own sins, and is one of several who will judge you, or will judge whether your soul is worthy to enter heaven or doomed to eternal hell. And of course, heaven is called Shangri-La. So basically, this Ringmaster is a manifestation of like yourself, the deep down self, I guess, that truly knows you. And if you fail the test, you get fiercely torn out of your body and your soul gets thrown down to eternal hell. Now, the riddle box is card number 3. And that's an entity.
That's the most popular one, right?
Yeah, I think the Great Malenko, which is the next one, was a big deal. I mean, I recognize all these albums, throughout the years. I've seen them around, probably like Hot Topic or some dumb crap like that.
I remember. You remember like
shirts, people with Jinkos are wearing these shirts,
Jinkos. You remember like the big CD cases with like 400 CDs in each one?
Oh yeah.
I remember like a couple of my friends.
You saw them flipping through there. Yeah, you saw these Joker faces. Yep.
Yeah. Insane Clown Posse, and I just like skip right over that. I don't know what
I would skip.
I'm not looking at it.
I had a friend in like '98, and I remember he had one, and I'm the same with you. I didn't really want to listen to it, but one time I went to his house and he was listening to this thing, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, it just sounded like weird, like screwed up carnival rap. He was like, "Oh, and it's Insane Clown Posse, blah blah blah." It didn't really pique my interest. No. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Because I couldn't really understand it for some reason, even though now I listen to it and I can understand it fine. He's like, oh, he's just talking about stabbing that guy. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that really didn't interest me either. So that was kind of, I guess he was like a juggalo or a subtle.
I've been thinking lately
dabbling in juggalo realms.
How like our conscious, like when we were in the 90s, like when we were growing up, there wasn't as much widespread communication, but like the internet started in 1994 for me.
Right.
So I
couldn't really download music too well though.
No, you couldn't do anything until like 2000s and later. But
DSL baby.
It's kind of like weird how the computers have like made our consciousness feel like we know a lot more.
It's true. We do have information at our fingertips.
But back then, like things were just, I don't know.
But we didn't realize they were like that.
Way too judgmental back then. Yeah, I know, right? Like you just look at a CD and you're like, "Fuck that," and you don't even listen to it. But now you have like, I have 80,000 songs on my computer.
Well, but a lot of that,
half of it.
But it's also because your taste in music and your approach to life changes.
Maybe
from your teens to your 30s. If it doesn't, then you got problems. You know what I mean? Like, think about the way we were when we were teenagers. I'm just like a totally different person.
Yeah, on the other hand,
I would be so annoyed by the teenage version of Eon K. Grissom. Like, it is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But,
and I should be, because I was out of control.
Like, I feel like we were like way more primal back, even in the 90s. Like, we had cars that drove us around places, and we still had planes and stuff. But
yeah, it was still kind of like the 70s.
I feel like a more advanced society. 10 years later.
No, it was just still the 70s, man. It was like not much different. Yeah, we still had CRT TVs and landlines, answering machines.
You know what? I'm into me and my daughter started watching Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, is that good?
In the 80s. So the first episode was 1984.
Yeah, Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, man. And it's unbelievable in 1984 what technology looked like.
It's weird.
We saw a guy get on a treadmill. It had to have been like the first prototype of a treadmill because it was ridiculous. Looked like,
well, that's I just was looking at some stock photography that I was like, oh, I got some stock photography, and I whipped it out, and it was supposed to be all these like high tech looking photos, and everything was like from like, 2002, and I was like, what? Like, yeah, it's hilarious.
That seems like 40 years ago. You say 2002. I saw a NASCAR like some clips on a NASCAR race or something. And the car literally looked like it was from 1915. Like the cars just looked like they were such box cars. Like somebody put it together in half a day.
Yeah, it's
now the cars now the cars look way more advanced. And then 10 years from now, the cars are gonna look like trucks compared to what they are now.
There's no telling, man. It's cool to try to envision. Envision the future.
Then again, we went to like a gathering of cheerleaders. Like my daughter's a young middle school cheerleader, and I saw like a 12-year-old knitting.
Maybe that's like a trendy hipster thing right now or something.
Yeah, knitting, and she had like this big, huge pillow she was making.
No, it's because for some reason there's like a certain aspect of hipsters that are like Amish, and they're like they want to do like old timey stuff and like live on farms and knit and stuff. I bet it might have been that. I mean, I got no problems with knitting. I think it's kind of cool.
I'm talking about when we get in an advanced society and there's a 12-year-old knitting. They think it's cool.
Yeah, no, you're right. They think these old analog activities are pretty cool, and in a way they are. They're actually, just doing stuff by hand like that, doing crafts. I mean, it works parts of your brain that just like staring at computer screens doesn't work. I mean, dude, we're getting closer to like how those people were in like Wall-E. They're just like these fat blobs who lay around and just stare at these screens and eat all day,
That was definitely me over the weekend.
You told me you were going to Thai, right?
Well, I went to Thai Mango, which is a Thai place near me. But I was watching like seasons of Dexter. All weekend.
Yeah, that's a good show. We got kind of lamer as it went on, but it was good.
Well, it's weird because like you're like, oh, I hope this serial killer does good and kills more people. Like gets you on the side of like serial killers. It's weird how they wrote it.
Yeah, it really is weird. I can't wait till you see the ending. I'd like to discuss that with you. Or I guess we can't spoil it for our listeners, though. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe next podcast. But I still got season 6 and 7 to go.
Oh, yeah. I guess I watched them all. All right, so let's get back to the ICP Dark Carnival card deck. So we've discussed the first one, the second one. Now the third one is the Riddle Box. And it's another entity that determines your fate. Upon death, a soul enters a dark chamber containing a jack-in-the-box on an old wooden table. The front of the box is painted with a question mark, faded with time, representing the mystery of your own afterlife. As the handle is turned, a melodic tune begins to play. When the music stops, a decision is revealed. You either see a vision of God warming your soul as you enter eternal peace, or you see an immense fog that seeps out of the box, stripping you of your sanity, and you witness your image go to hell, spawned and formed from your own evil. So that's kind of interesting. Your own, you get your own personal hell. Like your own self and your own doings creates your own hell. And I kind of like that because to me that just puts it all responsibility on yourself.
Like the heavenly musical chairs. When the music stops.
Yeah, but yeah, you better know what's up. And then you get a hideous reflection of your own demented soul. And it just freaks you out when you see what you really are. And that's why I like meditation, because that's sort of a study as to what you really are. And you come across some dark parts of yourself that you don't really want to admit are you, but yet there they are, and they are you. So you try to just become more aware of it.
I got a meditation pillow
with the fact that it's there as opposed to deny it.
Yeah.
What's that?
I got a meditation pillow in the mail this week. Oh, wait, last week.
Oh, yeah. You've been using that?
I did a couple times.
Nice. I need to get back into it. We need to start doing experiments with it and reporting on our experiences. Okay, so after the smoke comes up, if you're going to hell, the floor falls out underneath you and casts you into the bottomless pit of hell. The fate is revealed by the riddle box. You can be found looking deep into yourself, and you can be changed. You can change into having righteous actions. So it's basically teaching us, that no matter what, if we're good or bad, we can change now before the actual riddle box sends us to hell or heaven. So that's the third card. The fourth card is the Great Malenko.
It is like a religion, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally a religion. Now, the Great Malenko is an illusionist and a necromancer that attacks the minds, or the dead minds, rather than the dead spirits. His purpose is to try to trick individuals into greed and other lesser sins. He identifies the worst part of an individual and creates powerful illusions in the attempt to cause them to be hedonistic and greedy and do bad things. The Great Malenko is present within every person and an honorable individual must fight his magic in order to make it to heaven. So we all have this Great Malenko within us, who's the trickster, who's trying to, and he can create powerful illusions. And he's part of us, so he knows our deepest, darkest weaknesses, because he is us. I mean, this is all religions try to describe this type of concept. This one's just another one, and there's these kind of cool, cartoon guys. And I'm going to post a photo gallery, of course, up at facebook.com/Q the A podcast. What's that?
Go ahead.
Or Q the A podcast on Facebook. And we're going to try to build a website here one of these days. I'll let you guys know about it.
So the Great Malenko is definitely the most popular CD.
Yeah, you recognize that one, right?
I was reading while you were talking there, and it said that their album sales were 50,000 copies a week.
Boom!
What?
That one must have hit big at the mall.
Yeah.
And all the cool kids.
They don't even have DVD stores anymore, do they?
It was 97.
They don't have CD stores anymore, do they?
Not really. I don't think so. They shouldn't. They should have gotten rid of them already. But
what was those
so that was the year we were just out of high school, man. Back in those days, it's like back in the day. This is old freaking classic rock now.
I can picture the music store. I can remember the name of it.
Well, there was Sam Goody at the mall. There was Turtles back in the day.
Turtles, that's what it was.
Yeah, Turtles was the cool one.
I don't know if that was nationwide or not, but
it was pretty big around Atlanta, that's for sure. So that was the fourth card, the Great Malenko from 1997. I'm hearing an echo. I hope our listeners aren't going to hear it.
I hear nothing.
Good. Number 5 of the 6-card deck of the Dark Carnival is the Amazing Jekyll Brothers from 1999. This one focuses on 9 circles of hell and the morality of man as he's torn between righteousness and evil. Jack, the sinister brother, and Jake, the just brother, emerge from the smoke of a candle. The Jekyll brothers begin juggling pulsated, blood-covered balls that represent your mortal life. And for every sin you commit, they add another ball. And the more you sin, the more the balls keep getting added, until basically, and then Jack throws Jake curveballs, trying to make him drop balls. And if you witness them drop one of the balls, then you will be damned to hell for all of eternity. Souls who see Jake successfully complete the act ascend to heaven or Shangri-La. That's the Amazing Jekyll Brothers, card number 5.
They had a lot of famous people on that album, man.
Oh, did they?
Snoop Dogg and Old Dirty Bastard and Ice-T.
Yeah, man. They got a crew. Got a crew, son! Riding deep. And they had a big problem with Eminem. They had a big argument for a feud with him for something like 10 years. We'll go into that in a minute.
That was locally in Detroit, though, right?
Yeah, that's a Detroit hometown problem. And the Kid Rock, of course, is also from Detroit, and he's been on their albums as well. Now, the 6th card. Now, like I said earlier, The first there was supposed to just be one card deck. As far as the fans knew, there was only going to be one card deck. And the 6th card is called the Wraith. And it's actually 2 card. The one card is 2 exhibits, they call it. 2 different albums. The first one is Shangri-La, which is heaven. And the second one is called Hell's Pit. Shangri-La came out in 2002. Hell's Pit came out in 2004. And together they're called the Wraith, which is the personification that you are of your death. So everybody knows they're going to die, right? So this is something we can all understand. You're either going to go to Shangri-La or you're going to go to hell. And so in the Wraith, which is the Shangri-La, the Heaven album, they reveal the hidden message of Insane Clown Posse's message of the Dark Carnival is to follow God and make it to heaven. And then it tells you that Hell's Pit is for those who don't atone for their sins before they die. And they say basically that all their albums, which are just terrible, like this horrorcore stuff we were talking about, where they're talking about stabbing people in the face and ripping off their skin and just all kind of crazy dark stuff they talk about.
Yeah.
They say that all they're doing is illustrating the horrors of hell that you don't want to experience. And that you have to go to God, and God will show you the truth through this music, and you will go to Shangri-La. You will ascend into Shangri-La. Now, there was another lyric on that album that stated basically like after this album, well, it basically said after the music ends that everyone's life is going to end. And some of these Juggalo fans, some of these Juggalos got kind of out of hand with that, and they actually thought that Insane Clown Posse was telling them that the world was going to end. Yeah, and they like really believed it. The
rapture.
Yeah, in 2002, I guess at the end of 2004 when Hell's Pit came out, they thought that the world was going to end around that time. And it's funny because I know one of them pretty well, and he told me that he believed it too. And they when he realized that it didn't happen, he kind of felt like scammed because he was kind of like in the cult part of it. And he kind of felt like they had ripped him off and wasted his time with this fake bullcrap that he was wrapped up in. So now he's not really a Juggalo, even though he probably is down with the clown till he's dead in the ground.
So the world does end and you die.
It's true. And that's basically you can it's kind of like how people misinterpret any spiritual text. You know what I mean?
I mean, are you a winner if you fucking die?
Right.
Do you not feel scammed?
Everyone's going to die.
Because if you do die, then you're scammed by the rest of the world. And if you didn't die, you're just scammed by ICP.
Yeah, I mean, there's, obviously if you get caught up in this kind of thing, you don't see anything outside of it. It's kind of a cult, you know what I mean? You're only going to see the world in this one way if you're part of the Juggalo group. Because, I mean, I've never been there and I'd like to go, but I'm probably not going to. Just because it's so much effort. But I would imagine that there's a vibe going on there like you would feel at any of these big kind of cult band festivals. Like there's a certain like magic, kind of a mystical awareness in the air. And of course people are taking crazy drugs, psychedelics, and they're having these wild drugged out experiences which only in their mind is only going to reinforce that is like the fundamental truth. Like, these guys are getting messed up and tripping out and having these wild, creative visions and experiences about these card characters, about the Malenko, the Jekyll brothers and the Great Malenko. It's true. It's like Ekankar, where they got those like cartoon, masters. It's the same kind of thing. I mean, they're really perceiving this.
That's exactly what came to my mind when I was talking. I was about to reference Ekankar.
It's similar to Ekankar.
Because you get into Ekankar and then you die and then you're like disappointed because it happens just like any other near-death experience that everyone's ever had. There's probably not going to be any pearly gates,
Well, nobody knows. I'm not going to say probably anything. Nobody knows. And if you died and came back, then you didn't actually die. So that's always something to think about.
We need to have a good near-death experiences podcast, man.
Because like my dog, he's dead in the yard. I buried him in the yard, and he's not coming back.
That's true.
But it's like if you kind of fade out and come back, you can have a wild experience, which I did as well. And I think it was real, but at the same time, I got to keep in mind that, I didn't die. That or I did die, and this is like an afterlife. That's the other option, which is very similar to my previous life.
Well, once you start listening to people's like DMT experiences when they smoke the DMT.
Sure, I mean, there's far out stuff. I mean,
you have like an elevated level of DMT in your pineal gland.
I mean, you could look at it in many ways. You could also they're just realizations into how amazing the human mind and consciousness are as well. I mean, which is just as amazing. There's no right or wrong way to describe the same amazing perceptions and experiences. They're just far out. But I like to think how being sober is actually like a far out psychedelic experience. Because it is. Sure. It kind of is.
Yeah, I mean,
we're just bored with it. You know what I mean?
How does a tree even exist? Oh my god!
Well, look at us. We're walking around in these weird, like skin wrapped exoskeleton suit things. We got these little eyes and nose and mouth and ears. I mean, we're used to it, but it's freaking weird.
Yeah, how does it even hold itself together? I don't get it.
It's bizarre, and we just get up and work and do our thing and don't think about it. And that's the thing, is it's totally real. Like, I can say that, and it's like obvious. But if I tell a lot of people about it, they think I'm like totally weird. Like, why are you even thinking about this? It's like, dude, it's freaking weird. Come on.
Too deep. You're deep, Kevin. Leon.
I know. I have been told that. I feel like, well, I like to go deep. What can I say? Maybe I've gone too deep in certain ways.
It's serious. Like, the cells of the body just keep like going on. You don't have to think about it. You're not like concentrating on, okay, move, cell. You got to do this. Why aren't you doing that? You got to digest my food. Come on.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Just doing it on its own. You're like
a lot of involuntary things.
Forces are doing it. Yeah, but involuntary.
And instincts.
It's our conscious mind is involuntary, but our subconscious mind's controlling all that. Like, how's that work?
Like magnets, how do they work?
Ooh.
We haven't even gotten into the miracles part of the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, how's that work?
But so let's talk about the Dark Carnival and the clouds, the cards. Ekin cards, we could call it Ekin cards. So they started a second deck.
Ekin cards.
Yeah, Ekin cards of the Dark Carnival. No, they started a second deck of cards.
So 6 cards in one deck, right?
Correct, and the second deck is going to have 6 as well.
It's called the post-first deck era. It is, seriously.
Yeah. It's true. It's what is it? AD and PD or something? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
AD, Anno Decani. So in 2009, they came out with Bang Pop Boom, Bang Pow Boom. They all have exclamation points. And that's the first Joker's card of the second deck. So we're in a we're into the New Testament of decks here, people. And I wonder if there's old school like Juggalos who don't accept the new revelation, the new deck.
Hey, you know what? The new, I bet the old school fans are very embarrassed by the new stuff.
I bet it's true. And then there's probably all these middle schoolers who are real wrapped up in it. That they really hate their parents, and this stuff's really cool. So in 2009, they released Bang Pow Boom, and this is an entity in a continuous explosion. He's used to clear the carnival grounds when they become too crowded with souls of the evil people who commit heinous sins like pedophilia and other perverted acts. And these are sick and demented souls. So when it gets too big and bad, this guy just comes through and levels everything. I guess it's kind of like the Old Testament God who just like flooded the earth and destroyed everybody. Right?
Yeah.
Now, people have said that, they're Christian. But the thing is they don't talk about Jesus. They just talk about God and heaven and hell. Like, these are concepts that are in other religions.
All religions.
So when people talk about how ICP is Christian, no, that's not true. It's just people hear the word God and devil and hell, and they assume that it's Christian. But, of course, they're not talking about the devil. They're talking about these, like, card beings that are, like, dark manifestations of your own self.
Right.
It's really more like Buddhism or Hinduism, I think, because God is like the light, the conscious light in heaven.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about heaven and hell, though, I mean, a lot of people assume that.
Yeah, and I would assume that Insane Clown Posse was, they're from America, so United States, so they're going to be very affiliated with the religion or Christianity. I don't know if they even know about other religions or not. That's just what everybody's like completely like inundated with in this country.
Sure. We're about to be inundated with some Muslims, though.
We might.
Well, how many was it? Like 600,000 or something? 60,000?
I don't even know the numbers of anything. To me, it's more of a philosophical issue.
I mean, we have 350 million people. It's like.
Oh yeah. By the way, I guess we should. Okay, first off, Ian K. Grissom is drinking a Bass Ale, which I have drank before, and I will drink again.
It's my fave, man. My fave.
Now, I'll tell you, it's good. Yeah, it's a good. And that's the first registered trademark is that red triangle, which is the Illuminati.
That's right.
Boom.
Continuous Illuminati.
Bass Ale is the Illuminati.
That was really in the Illuminati days too.
Yeah, that's back in the day. It's what year? I don't know. I don't see it right offhand, but it's back in the day.
I remember it being pretty early, and I was like, "What?" That was pretty early.
So yeah, and this weekend I drank some Dark and Stormies, which are ginger beer, non-alcoholic ginger beer mixed with dark rum.
It's a bunch of redheads drinking beer.
No, it's just a nice, refreshing cocktail beverage.
No, it tastes like ginger. Okay.
Yeah, it tastes like ginger and spiced rum. It tastes delicious. And after 2 of those, you're feeling pretty good. And I started drinking like straight scotch and bourbon, so that was stupid.
Oh, last week I had moonshine.
Ooh. Yeah. Some of that's pretty smooth.
So my mom had some at her Tennessee cabin, and it was like butter flavored. It was like really good, like easy to drink.
Butter moonshine.
This stuff I had last week was like fire. It was super potent and had no flavoring. I get weird on moonshine, dude. Like
you're getting drunk.
I don't know. It's like I don't know if it's drunk. It's kind of like hallucinatory. It's kind of like
whoa,
because
it's shaking you from your false senses.
Yeah, it's like a different feeling when I drink a lot of it. But the last time I did it at my mom's cabin, I woke up like 3 or 4 hours after I went to sleep, and I was like totally awake. And it was like 4:30 in the morning or 5, so I just got up, started walking, and I was like completely sober and like ready to enjoy my day.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Last time, so I was doing we were doing shots of vodka and stuff, and then they broke out the moonshine. So
boom.
I slept a little bit longer, but still I got up, no hangover. Felt great.
Yeah,
no headache.
Good moonshine can actually be pretty. Yeah, it's like good vodka. If you drink some expensive vodka, you won't really have a bad hangover. I mean, obviously drinking water is important.
I didn't realize how prevalent moonshine was, though.
It's very yes.
I mean, if my mom has it.
Well, there's legal moonshine, and then there's illegal moonshine, and they're both moving around town. So let's see, what do we got here? We got Bang Pow Boom, which explodes the crowd. You got the Mighty Death Pop from 2012, which is the second Joker's card of the second deck. And it's describing an entity that targets individuals who take great risks with their lives. The Mighty Death Pop character reaches out to us, warning us to avoid an early death. Bruce, I think who's Violent J, revealed the second deck will conclude, as did the first, with the depiction of heaven and hell, told by the perspective of another character. So basically, you shouldn't be reckless. You should be responsible. You shouldn't risk your life. You might die when you're too young. Gotta quit getting off track with all these illusions that are being targeted at you. And he says that, this deck's going to end with the heaven and hell teachings as well. So then let's see, on October 31st, 2014, at Insane Clown Posse's annual Hallow Wicked concert, the third card, Joker's card of the second deck, was revealed to be the Marvelous Missing Link, which is the first is called The Lost, and the second is called The Found. And it's a double album that was released in April and in July of 2015.
Huh.
Now, that's one of those card decks where it's 2 albums. So there's been 3 cards of the second album. There's 3 more cards that are going to be revealed. of the second deck. Now, who knows if there will be a third deck? I don't know. But anyway, that's the current Dark Carnival saga from the Insane Clown Posse, coming at you 17 years in a row. Boom.
More cards will be coming out.
Well, yeah, there's 3 more cards in the deck. Now, they'll put out albums that aren't card albums. Huh. So this isn't all their albums. We missed some albums in the list there.
I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, they come out with an album or 2 a year, or maybe not that much, but yeah, like every 2 or 3 albums might be a card deck, which is, of course, a big deal to the fans. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. It's like the people who were big into Apple Computer, before they come out and reveal the new.
Yeah.
Like Steve Jobs came out, dude, the way he was totally just revealing like cards from the card deck. You know what I mean? It was the same kind of vibe.
Yeah,
the revelation from the prophet. You know what I mean?
Everybody's getting boners before the new card comes out.
Yeah, it's like in freaking Lion King when the monkey holds out the little baby Simba over the crowd. It's just like revealing the card to the new, or like the Pope when the Pope.
What if ICP has like a live event where they tell everyone on the internet what their new card is going to be?
That's a good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they do it live at the gathering. I believe. I could be wrong. And any of our fans that are Juggalos, feel free to interact with us on the Facebook page, or send us a qthapodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. You can correct us if we're wrong about anything. If you want to be on for a follow-up Juggalo interview episode, that would be great.
You can Twitter us on Twitter.
I mean, from my perspective, the Dark Carnival belief system will lead you to the great Shangri-La, as they say. I almost feel like I believe in Shangri-La. It's just another word for the light, for the eternal light, which we all seek from deep within.
It's also another name for a city.
Yeah, Shangri-La. I think there's like a fast food, kind of a Chinese restaurant right up the street called Shangri-La. I think it's in a gas station. So let's see. So the Great Malenko, the album that we talked about, one of the card decks from the first deck.
Yeah.
Cards from the first deck. It was actually on a Disney label called Hollywood Records.
Yeah, man.
And
Disney paid like $1 million for that too.
Yeah. It's crazy that Disney owned the Insane Clown Posse. And of course, they're just totally explicit lyrics and parental advisory. And
well,
there's
Disney, like before then, Disney didn't have any bad language, and they're like supposedly like family oriented and very wholesome. They didn't want to have anything to do with things like that.
Yeah, supposedly. Of course, We're going to do a whole expose on Disney.
Yeah,
even to talk about Disney.
The Malenko thing was so that was the release in '97 or '98, right?
Great Malenko was 97.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do a Disney episode in the future. So, yeah, Disney is, of course, supposed to be family friendly, all wholesome. I mean, it's freaking Disney. If you're a listener and you don't know what Disney is, I'm sorry. Look up Disney, because I don't know. You probably haven't been outside of a dark cave or something, or you were probably homeschooled or something. You must have been. Although I do know many parents when I was growing up who were, very against Disney for the magic and the sorcery and all that stuff, as well as Smurfs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you still hear like crazy things about Disney. Just don't make any sense.
Well, Harry Potter. Oh, Disney. Anyway, we'll stop talking about Disney. Dookie Royale and I are clearly interested in Disney.
Yeah. We've had a few
Because when we wish upon a star. Although, It's a Small World does seem to line up with the Georgia Guidestones.
And they do have phallic symbols.
They have phallic symbols. And it's a small population after all. Anyway, so Disney wanted the Insane Clown Posse to remove 3 songs from their album because they thought that they were threatening to, their image or whatever. And actually, at first, the Insane Clown Posse complied with that, and Disney recalled the album. That had like
the same day it released.
Yeah, it got put up and then pulled off the shelves. And I think you were saying you saw the video where that guy was talking about that, and I saw that too. Where he bought it and then it was just gone. Let's see. Yeah, so Disney had beef, and then the Southern Baptist Convention Also had problem with Disney's promotion of Gay Days, as well as the Insane Clown Posse, saying that since Disney owns ABC and ABC has Ellen, that Disney's like pro-gay. So, of course, the Southern Baptist Convention hated the Insane Clown Posse, as well as their Juggalo fans, saying they had inappropriate lyrics, which claimed they were offensive to women. And I would agree. I mean, it's freaking ghetto rap, man. So I don't know what people expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the '97 they did that album, MTV Shockumentary, which you and I watched, and all of our listeners can check that out on MTV or YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the last file wouldn't play. It was like removed for some kind of copyright violation, so I didn't get to see the very end.
Yeah, no. All the results that you find on YouTube are partials that were made in like. Remember when YouTube first came out and you had to you only got
6 minutes.
6 or 8 minutes, and then later on they just said okay, always. Unlimited. Yeah. And then later on they were just like, what? They were trying to. I think what they were gonna do was start selling server space because these big people like Disney, as a matter of fact, they would have they could purchase space, more time. People wanted to do blogs. They wanted to do them long. No, it was 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes because I don't know why they did the 10-minute thing, but I remember it being at 10 minutes. And but you'd see things like Disney shows or Disney ads that would be 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
There were things you could pay for, like subscriptions where you could get 30 or 45-minute.
Yeah, I think that was called Google Video or something.
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
And then they just went to okay, we're just gonna go all advertising, and then they just give you unlimited amount of time. They don't archive videos or anything, which is kind of weird. How do they get all this damn data?
Yeah, it's just there.
It's just Google, I guess. They have so much money.
Yeah, they just got data centers redundantly backing up.
Yeah, and where are all these data centers at, man? Nobody ever talks about the Google data centers. They talk about the NSA data centers.
Yeah, you're right. They're pretty undercover, pretty subtle. Although there's one in Douglasville, a big one out there.
I remember when that was coming.
I heard that only 10 people work there. It's crazy.
That's it. Yeah, I heard that too. Remember, I don't know if you remember when they announced they were coming to Atlanta. It was all over the news and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's just a Google office,
it's just like the Amazon distribution centers.
Yeah, actually, you looked that up on Google Maps. Holy shit!
Yeah, they've been reinvesting their profits back into their infrastructure for years, and basically having no profits for years. So now they've just got this humongous machine.
It's crazy. Have you seen the test drones yet for their product? They're gonna start delivering.
No, I haven't seen them. I mean, I heard about them talking about it.
You have to YouTube that because that's awesome. It looks like a spider coming down, and it comes over your house and just places the package down, and goes back out, and leaves.
Pretty crazy idea.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty futuristic. That's like the Jetsons, man. We're getting towards the Jetsons.
That's weird. It's like you're gonna have to start building Amazon drop points around your house. And then what do you do when you live in an apartment? Is there going to be a group drop area for the Amazon?
Yeah, they'll have to custom cater to the Amazon drones.
The FCC, or not the FCC, but what's the flight control people? Is it FCC?
Right. No, I know what you're talking about.
That's like the music industry. But yeah, the flight people, they've already last couple weeks, I think they said that you have to get a license now to have a drone at all, any drone, any size. So you have to register your drone anyway.
Yeah, I've heard there's got to be some regulations because they're in certain airspace. People just amateurs just flying these things around. There's also privacy issues where you can just put a camera on it and lower it down, and your neighbor's teenage hanging out by the swimming pool or whatever. Videotaping minors. I mean, there's all kind of privacy issues.
Yeah, Alex Jones points out some new. You were talking about this on Facebook the other day about the nanobots.
Oh yeah, that spider on my desk.
Yeah, but he points out some of the patents for nanobots that were made in early 2000s. They have these little nanobots. They can just hover over your house. Look like you won't even see them because they're as small as mosquitoes.
Yeah,
but they have cameras on them. and they just zzz, they'll sit there and watch you.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know. It sounds pretty crazy, but it'd be pretty amazing if it's true. It's like that movie. It was called. It was like these little tiny UFOs.
Yeah,
came out in like the late '80s. What was that movie called?
That'll scare you. That'll scare you. Some little tiny nanobots are more scary than just UFOs themselves.
You know what I'm talking about, though? It's like Steven Spielberg. What the heck? You can edit this part out. I can't think of the freaking name of that movie. Anyway, it was like one of my favorite movies.
Oh, you can't remember the name, though, huh?
I was like 10. It's like on the tip of my brain. Anyway, so let's talk about the Insane Clown Posse. So they had a problem. They had a feud with Eminem, apparently. Eminem, when he was first getting started, was going around putting flyers on for a concert that he had, and the flyers said, like, you know, special guest, so-and-so. And he's like, and maybe Insane Clown Posse. And he walked up to them and he said, hey, guys, I want you to be at my thing. And they looked at it and they're like, dude, you already put us on there? They're like, F you, you know.
He's like, fuck no.
And, of course, Eminem's a little punk ass, so he's probably like, F you too, you know. And they had this feud that went on for like freaking 10 years, man. Eminem had that hit song called Slim Shady. Remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, my name is what? Chicka Slim Shady. Yeah, so they came out with a parody of that called Slim Anus.
Yeah, that's right.
And they really went to town on him. It's actually pretty funny if you're into that kind of crude ridiculousness. And the feud ended up getting squashed finally with his crew, which is called D12. In 2005, they kissed and made up.
Something like, what was I reading? Like Eminem was they were at a show or something, and he pulled a gun on like a member of the ICP, and then so that's like Eminem had this felony gun charge because of ICP.
That's probably true. Yeah, there's been a lot of drama going down over the years with those guys, and in a certain way, you can't say what's a stunt and what's not a stunt. I don't know. Now ICP actually back in the 90s created their own Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
I saw that too.
Yeah, well, it was called Stranglemania. They even had Cactus Jack on there. But they also then later ended up doing 3 months straight wrestling with back then it was the WWF. Now it's called the WWE. But that was a big deal because that's obviously a huge crossover, wrestling and Insane Clown Posse music. I mean, there's got to be a big connection there. Like you said, some of these people remind you of the people at the NASCAR races.
Yeah.
So obviously they're lined up with the wrestling scene as well. It's all part of a culture that we have in this country. You know what I'm saying, man?
Here's that thing about Eminem. In June 2000, so this is the year 2000, Eminem physically attacked Douglas Dale, an Insane Clown Posse affiliate, threatening him with a gun in the parking lot of a car audio store in Royal Oak, Michigan. Eminem pled guilty to lesser charge in exchange for 2 years probation and a $10,000 fine. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, man. I think I remember
Eminem and ICP thing is serious. It's big time.
Yeah. Now, you know what's serious? See, some of these juggalos, they get a little off track and a little caught up in these illusions that the card deck characters create for them, right, to try to lure them into hell. And some of them go out dressed up like freaking evil clowns and commit crimes in like an organized sort of crime fashion. So, of course, guess who catches on to that? The FBI. So, Insane Clown. So, Juggalos end up on the freaking FBI's like watch list for gang activity, organized gang activity. Almost, looked like as like terrorism in a sense.
Yeah.
But then the ICP like sued the FBI for slander because they're like, hey man, we're not breaking the law. We're just, rapping. It's like First Amendment. And like those people do that. They're not affiliated with us. And you guys are ruining our image for people who are not juggalos. I think they probably were, but.
Sort of like Scientology, like whenever Scientology couldn't get a religious-based tax exemption.
Yeah, and they blackmailed the IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Good old Scientologists.
It's amazing. It's funny that we're like, think we're in a free country, and you can't create a religion anymore. You can't create a religion because like some other religion-based people in the government won't allow you to.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, well, they act like religions aren't made up, like religions have to be real. It's like, well, okay, my religion's real then. Like, who you don't follow it? How do you know? Like, how do you prove what religion's real and what's not? Everybody thinks their religion's the only religion, so obviously by default, every other religion's going to be fake. So how can I mean? It's just it's crazy. You almost have to be like non-religion to see that there should be religious freedom, like in a true sense. Kind of.
John Oliver created a religion.
Did he?
He's on that This Week Tonight show.
Mm-hmm.
He created a religion a couple of episodes ago. Can't remember. It was like Our Lady Perpetual Exemption or something like that.
Yeah, well, there's certain things you have to do to meet the criteria of that tax code. I mean, you can't just say I'm a religion, I don't want to pay taxes. Like, you actually have to do charitable. The reason you get the tax break is you're supposed to be performing charitable nonprofit, duties. And if you're not, you're legally not supposed to have that right to do so.
He lists the 12 things that the IRS puts out to say your religion. They're basically nothing. It's like so he created a religion and then got donations from the crowd, and they sent in like thousands of dollars to his church. Yeah.
Did it become a religion?
Yeah, it's a religion. His tax exempt and everything.
Sweet. I need to do that.
So he just has this, and it is so as long as he says like "blessed be" or something like that, like he holds his hands like this, he looks at the crowd like "blessed be,
blessed be, blessed thou be."
So it looks like it's a religion. So now he has this tax exemption. Yeah, it's Lady of Perpetual Exemption. Our Lady of Perpetual Exemption, which basically means tax exemption.
Well, I'm surprised Insane Clown Posse hadn't tried to pull that in, because they're basically acting like they're preaching the truth of their religion.
Oh, we saw the documentary. It shows like Christians for ICP or something, right?
Yeah, Christians. Yeah, because of course Christians are thinking, well, these guys are caught up in this weird cult, and they're tricked into this belief system that's not the truth. Because Christians believe, of course, that you have to accept Jesus, or you're not going to go to heaven.
Yeah, Christians, they're like like the Scientology thing. Like Scientology has this actor-based membership, I guess, where they like say you can they'll get you into acting school and stuff.
Well, it just heightens all your potential.
Yeah. So then Christians kind of have their own little actor thing over here in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, Talent for Christ.
Talent for Christ.
Oh yeah, they got billboards up.
They have a big building now. You know where? Well, the listeners might not know this, but there's a big street.
It's at like Windy Hill and Powers Ferry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's like a big sign on top of it.
Oh yeah, Talent for Christ. It's a big deal. I'm sure there's no pedophiles in that business.
That's right across the street from where they're building our new Brave Stadium.
Oh yeah, bringing it up north, getting it out of the inner city. Now, these Juggalo gang members were accused of being involved with assaults, drug trafficking, vandalism, burglary, shootings, theft, robbery, and numerous murders.
But the FBI should be investigating them.
Anyway, they got taken off the list. They were labeled as a loosely organized hybrid gang in a 2011 report. They were only recognized as gangs in 4 states.
I guess Illinois and Chicago.
Detroit.
California, Detroit.
Michigan.
Right.
But law enforcement in 21 states identified crime that seemed to have been committed by Juggalo subsets. I mean, of course, they're not all, connected nationally. They're just doing their little Juggalo thing, getting off track, doing bad stuff, getting tricked by their dark illusions.
If you're wearing like an M&M shirt and you go and rob a store, they're gonna think you're in an M&M gang or something. It's all kinds of ridiculous stuff that these people like conjure up. The government conjures up.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, so I guess we can talk about this. We had what is it today? The November 16th, 2015. Well, on November 13th, 2015, which is 3 days ago, the Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Somebody decided to like blow up and shoot up like a whole music concert in Paris and kill like 135 people, I think is the current.
That was just that one place, yeah.
And there was other stuff that went down. And of course, people are blaming whoever. A lot of people jump to conclusions and assume who it is. And apparently Paris went and bombed some Middle Eastern
like right away
locations, like right away, or just boom, boom, just blow you up. So apparently they knew where the bad guys were the whole time, or they're just blowing up people. Or they're not. You never know about the reports. That's real.
What I posted on my personal Facebook page. I put something like, we got the attacks in Paris, and all of a sudden France knows exactly what to bomb. Like,
yeah, it's pretty. But like I said, they tell us they're bombing them. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know what's getting bombed.
Yeah, right.
They say that
bombing the desert and just wasting the bullets. Wasting the bombs.
And of course they say the bad guys are coming for us next. That's the big thing, and everybody's freaked out. And of course now we got to make these extreme decisions. Now, of course, it falls in line magically with the presidential race that's happening. I'm sure there'll be no connection there whatsoever.
Well, yeah, it's like weird because it falls right in. Like Obama is just about to let a whole bunch of Syrian refugees in the country. Like literally this week, and like there's a terrorist attack the Friday before. It's kind of what?
See, it just falls in line with my prediction with Jeb Bush for president, because once again you got the Bushes fighting the Middle Easterners. Seems to be history repeating itself. So I think it's just another step in the Jeb Bush direction. Jeb 2016. I don't know who his running mate's going to be, but maybe it'll be Dan Quayle or something like that.
It is pretty sad, man.
We need to bring back Dan Quayle. Whatever happened to him?
You can just see how the Bushes are involved in this again. But because France, remember, like whenever we got our terrorist attack in 2001, France was like the first one to step up and say, "We're with you." Right.
Well, no, France. We were saying we wouldn't call them French fries. People were calling them freedom fries. Like we were mad at France.
That is true.
Because they wouldn't stand by us on our swift, beat down on Iraq with their weapons of mass destruction, or something like that. I think it was something like that. Specifics may be different, but it's irrelevant. It's all just the same.
Yeah, I think you're right about
confusion.
There was something about France where they like, because they were like the first one. Yeah, later on they were like the first country to go in troops on the ground. And they put like,
I don't know,
1,200 people out there or something.
All I know is there's some drama going down, but some of our listeners, when they hear this will be like old news,
Yeah.
So, and that's cool for us. Even we go back and listen to old episodes and we're like, oh yeah, that time France got attacked.
You get time reference there.
That other time, because of course that magazine got shot up like
Charlie Hebdo
6 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie Hebdo.
That was pretty crazy. And then, but before that, there was that one guy who like macheted another dude in the street, like a police officer.
Oh, really?
You remember that?
No, I haven't really looked into the story because to me the details are all irrelevant.
They've been having terror attacks in the city for a little while. Like this one guy, he was a Muslim dude, but he was French speaking. It was like English speaking or something. Maybe it was London. But anyway, he just walked up to a police officer and started hacking him with a machete. And like there was a crowd around him. Nobody stopped him. Nobody jumped on him. Nobody did anything. And then he stopped, and so he filmed the whole thing. And then he walks up to there was a camera crew interviewing someone just by chance on that same street. So he walks up to the camera. He's like, "I killed this man today for Muslim religion." Yeah, and then they had the Charlie Hebdo thing, where like there was just people in the streets getting mowed down. Cartoonists. Yeah,
I mean, but there's crazy stuff going on here. There's always crazy stuff going on, and there's people doing crazy stuff like that aren't Muslim, but they don't really, you don't hear that when you're talking about other Muslims doing stuff. It's to me, people act like we're in some new world where there's new evil. Man, I don't think so. I think it's the same world and the same evil. We just got a lot more video cameras, and we got Twitter,
right?
And we got a bigger, news media machine that transmits this data around. A lot of it happens on our smartphones even. I mean, we don't sit around watching news on TV, but I see all kind of crazy stuff on Facebook. I mean, that's basically my news feed. And I subscribe to a lot of ultra right-wing and ultra left-wing stuff. So
Yeah, my wife says that.
See all that going down.
Said, things are just getting too crazy now, and I said, no, it's always been this way.
It's the same as always, man.
We
There's
had
always
the
been
Oklahoma City bombing, and then like Northern and Southern Ireland were like bombing each other for decades.
It's just always the same.
And,
I mean, and my
someone,
friend, one of my friends was telling me he doesn't want to have kids because the way the world is now. And I'm like, dude, your dad had the same concern. His dad had the same concern. Just have a kid. Like, good Lord, just have a kid. Yeah, you're concerned for your kid, and that's a good thing. But I mean, what do you like? Might as well just not go outside anymore, right? You might as well just kill yourself. Actually, you're so afraid of the future and what's going on. Yeah, just kill yourself.
But then again, if you believe in reincarnation, it's not really going to help. You're gonna have to come back and learn some more lessons, buddy.
I guess.
But I don't know. A girl that was 18 killed her 17-year-old cousin in their front yard, here in my area.
Oh, great.
And that's what she said. And then I said, well, you remember in 1996, a kid came into her school with a gun and killed himself in class.
Nice.
So that was like in the 90s, right? When people are thinking, we had our first school shooting. That was 1996 too. I
mean, humans have been humans for a long time. And they've been acting like humans for a long time. And they're going to keep doing it for a long time.
I just think they found a new avenue. They just found a new avenue to do it in schools and churches and stuff.
I mean, we could kill ourselves. I mean,
yeah,
that's a potential that we probably should try to avoid. Although the ironic part is a lot of people who think that they are promoting the ideas that will keep us from dying are the things that will actually kill us.
I saw a good meme.
So it's really weird.
That after the Paris shootings, it said, pray for Paris. Isn't praying what got us in this
I've seen
in the first place.
Yeah, they're like, pray for Paris. That's religion. We need to stop religion. Hey, let's take a quick break. I'll be right back.
We'll take a break and we'll listen to a couple of ICP songs here. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little Insane Clown Posse song that came out just a couple of years ago, 2009. And it's called Miracles. You're not going to believe it when I play this to you because it is so funny. Now, the audio version is going to have some we're going to have some edits, some clips. But the funniest parts probably. So, if you want to just catch the end of that later on. But YouTube's playing an ad right now. So I got to skip that ad, obviously. Working it out. I wasn't really into Insane Clown Posse. But in the 90s. Didn't know what it was. It's kind of weird. All these crazy graphics. I didn't like the artwork. So I just stayed away from it. But here is Miracles.
You see, Mike, we got a theory about magic and miracles. That's right. That's right. If magic is all we've ever known, then it's easy to miss what really goes on. But I've seen miracles in every way, and I see miracles every day. Oceans spanning beyond my sight, and a million stars way above them at night. You don't have to be high to look in the sky and know that's a miracle open wide. Look at the mountains, trees, the seven seas, and everything chilling underwater. Please, hot lava, snow, rain and fog, long neck giraffes and pet cats and dogs. And I've seen 85,000 people all in one room together as equal. Pure magic is the birth of my kids. I've seen shit that'll shock your eyelids. The sun and the moon and even Mars, the Milky Way of fucking shooting stars, UFOs, a river flows, plant a little seed and nature grows. Niagara Falls and the pyramids, everything you believed in as kids. Fucking rainbows, after it rains, there's enough miracles here to blow your brains.
All right, there's a little taste of the old Miracles.
Oh, the Miracles. Miracle.
I was thinking of a Insane Clown Posse song to play for our intermission there.
Yeah, that song got kind of famous on the internet by people who weren't ICP fans, just because it's so entertaining to watch the video and listen to the lyrics about miracles.
That's 16 million views.
Absolutely, man. That song is a sensation, and everyone should see that if they haven't yet. Don't just listen to the song. You gotta watch the video.
Put a seed in the ground and nature grows.
That's right, because it's miracles.
Magic.
Now, that song got made fun of on Saturday Night Live, and it was actually hilarious. Let me see if I can find my notes on that.
Yeah, because it was just basically like a guy standing there like, science, what is that?
No, he's like blankets. How do they work?
I think you have to listen to the whole ICP Miracles song to kind of get like how ridiculous the lyrics are.
Well, yeah, because they say magnets. How do they work? Like magnets are completely a miraculous thing. Like, and they even say something about like not wanting to learn science or something. Or maybe that's in the parody. I can't remember. So in 2009, Saturday Night Live had a sketch called. It wasn't the Juggalo Fest, the Gathering of the Juggalos Festival. It was the Kick Spit Underground Rock Festival. And it parodied a band that they called the Thriller Killer Clowns. And they did a song called Magical Mysteries. So if you Google search, Saturday Night Live, Magical Mysteries, or Insane Clown Posse, you'll find this.
Nice. You'll
find this song about magical mysteries.
I remember laughing for like an hour after I saw that. That was so funny.
Oh, it's great, man! It's like a meme of itself.
It's almost like they did because there are other songs that are like legitimate songs. And that just sounds like it's trying to get people not to like them, or like they become like this internet laughing stock.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't. It's a later song from 2009, so it doesn't have that Cypress Hill type sound. We were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. But and then so I got this list here of all the things that that define what is a juggalo. So common characteristics of a juggalo is drinking or spraying inexpensive soft drink called Faygo all over yourself and others, listening to horrorcore music and other types of underground rap music. A lot of these people it's ironically a lot of white people. There's some blacks, but it's a pretty serious white thing. So this weird underground rap music. They wear face paint generally, either like a clown or perhaps similar to like a corpse. And they wear there's a clothing line actually called Hatchet Gear. Huh. And they've got this logo, this little mascot looking guy. It's like a cartoon man with like kind of like hair waving in the breeze. And he's got a big old meat cleaver. And he's running to go murder somebody or something. That's their juggalo symbol. And they all have like that one, like a necklace or a T-shirt or something.
Like all wiggers, you think?
Well, I don't want to throw out derogatory terms like that, but
wigger family.
And some of them might come from trailer parks. Yeah. Like it's like Eminem. I don't know if you've seen his 8 Mile movie. I mean, it's basically where these guys came from. These like ghetto Detroit trailer parks. It's like rough. I mean, they talk about like in the first album they depict like all the terrible like hell that it is to live in the ghetto, so kids really relate with that if they're grown up in that culture. They're like, well shoot, someone's talking about it at least.
Yeah, watching that documentary is just like,
I mean, white little kids like us living in our happy little white suburbans lifestyle, we don't necessarily connect with some of this darkness and this trauma.
And yeah, it did.
A lot of it's trauma. It's trauma.
Definitely reminded me of NASCAR people, like we were talking about, man.
Right.
Like,
that's kind of.
There's when you go to a NASCAR race, there's definitely like this higher end NASCAR fan, and then there's like the camper outside NASCAR fan.
Oh yeah,
that's there for like the weekend.
Oh yeah,
partying like 3-day weekend sometimes, like from Friday morning till Sunday night.
They got bad tattoos and.
Right.
Nice teeth and all that. Nice hairstyles and cars. And yeah, sure. Some call them white trash.
There's a lot of them, though. But that reminds me of what Juggalo fans look like on these documentaries.
Yeah, now Juggalos tout that they come from all walks of life. Some claiming they're doctors and lawyers and stuff. I guess that's possible.
Nothing wrong with it.
I don't meet a lot of Juggalos. Yeah, no offense, Juggalos. No offense.
We're just
talking.
Proud of your
heritage.
Yeah,
your Juggalo family. You'd be down with the clown till you're dead in the ground. So yeah, they have the Hatchet Man. That's what he's called. The little guy running with a hatchet. It looks like a meat cleaver to me, but they call it Hatchet Man. And that's on jewelry. They also do their hair in spider leg style, which is like fans of the band, the singer or rapper Twisted. It's actually Twisted. Twisted. Yeah. Twisted. Yo, that dog is twisted. But I bet they say something about. I bet there's all kind of like slang they have that
it's like
to find out. It's like a whole subculture.
It's very wigger.
Let's see. Displaying the gesture of the Wicked Clown. They do a lot of West Side signs. West Side with the left hand and the C sign with the right, and in ASL with the right. I don't know what that means. Oh, and they also cross their arms. A lot of arm crossing, which might be an Illuminati reference. I don't know. Now, is the Insane Clown Posse, are they in the Illuminati? That's a good question right there that we should ask.
They might be the epitome of the Illuminati because of their religiousness.
They might be. They're now a Juggalo always says whoop whoop. We already talked about that, but another giving a whoop whoop.
Now, why do they say that? Because it's like lyrics in a song, right?
I think so. I guess it's from the music. It's just a thing. It's been around since the early days.
I think it was like a one-liner of one song, and that just became like this thing that they say all over the place. Like there'll be I was watching one this short YouTube video, and they were talking about in the 90s, like they'd be at a baseball game or something, and somebody would just yell like across the stadium, woo woo. Somebody else across the other stadium would go woo woo. And they would start this whoop whoop back and forth on TV.
It's true, man.
And then they knew that, and people watching the game would know that ICP fans were.
They know there was that Juggalo family. That's right. That's like people that say Baba Booey. Baba Booey. Those Stern fans, right?
Yeah.
Or people at golf tournaments, they'll come back like behind the announcers and be like "caw" and act like a bird.
Well, they do that at games too. Like you'll hear that at baseball games too. Like one guy just start going. Caca! And then across the stadium, and another guy will go caca!
Yeah, that's fun. That just shows our primitive self in action right there, yelling across the valley.
Yeah, man. It's like a Bigfoot.
Exactly, Bigfoot doing their primitive calls. Now we just have cell phones, and text, and talk with our fingers onto a robot device.
Bigfoot ain't got any of that. He's still yelling.
Yeah, that's true. He's got a few million years of progress to make.
I don't know, man. He can disappear. He can demorphosize.
He can make himself blurry. Now, their Juggalos are generally, in a sort of joking, like tongue-in-cheek way, they're always obsessed with murder, and especially murder that's committed with blade weapons. So that's kind of scary, man. Like, as a kid, I was afraid of clowns, and so I can see how as a kid I would have been freaked out, man. These are like murderous clowns who want to just stab you and joke about it.
Wasn't there a scary like Stephen King movie with like a cloud?
Oh yeah, that was called It. Yeah, It the Clown.
Yeah, It. Yep, remember that. So that probably instilled some scariness of clowns to you.
Oh, I was freaked out with that one. I mean, I was probably like 12 when I saw It.
I remember that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We must have been 12 years old, 13.
Oh yeah. I remember I recorded it on my VCR.
Did you time it? Did you time your VCR to record?
I believe.
Or did you stand by and wait until 8 p.m. when it came
No,
on?
I always programmed it, and it started when I was always good with programming the VCR. A lot of people seem to struggle with that, but
can you believe that TiVo was just 10 years ago?
TiVo?
Yeah, TiVo was like massive for like 2 years, and it just disappeared.
It's actually still around, believe it or not.
I know.
But
I don't
it seems about like 10 years to me. 10 years seems like a little while to me. Like the other day, this girl on Facebook was like, posted this old high school picture, and people were like, "Oh, it just seems like yesterday," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It seems like forever ago. Like, what are you talking about? It's like like the high school's like a long time ago. It doesn't feel like yesterday to me. It was like a distant past.
10 years ago feels like yesterday and a long time ago, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's because
technology-wise, it was forever ago, but in lifetime, just the other day.
In life's wise. In reality.
But remember, I mean, think about it. Like in the 70s and 80s, a Magnavox radio was invented in like the 20s, and it just persisted until the 80s and 90s. And then nobody wanted to do radio anymore because of the internet. Ham radio. There's a guy at my work that's getting certified in ham radio. Have you ever heard of ham radio?
Oh, absolutely. That's a thing, man. Everybody has their handle.
Yeah, you can like shoot signals like up in the stratosphere, and it reflects down, so you can shoot a signal, hit the stratosphere like over France, and then it will reflect down like to Japan.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just like from your car or from your house?
From your house. You have to have like a huge, powerful antenna.
Yeah, and he probably has backup generators. Like a lot of those people who are like prepping for these doomsday scenarios. That's like the worst. That's like the last. Yeah, because I mean, obviously the cell networks are going to go down, so you want to have this way you can do it yourself. I mean, we'd all be screwed, dude. If if the cell phones turned off and they quit bringing food to the freaking grocery stores, I mean, none of us have more than a week's worth of water. I mean, what the heck's going to happen, dude? People are going to start panicking, and it could happen any day.
Grocery stores are like 2 days. They have 2 days of food or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, and especially if everybody panics and raids it, it's going to be gone in like 20 minutes. I mean,
when we have like a hurricane, like 300 miles out, people like go and get all the bread and milk.
Well, and think about this. You think, oh, I'll take it home and put it in my freezer. Well, both my freezers are electric, dude.
Yeah, they're going to turn off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to think about stuff like that. It's like we assume that there's a freezer. But no, of course there's not. Like, what are you talking about?
If it happens in winter. Outside will be your freezer.
And I don't even have a freaking fireplace, dude. So like, if my electricity and my gas line gets cut off, I mean, how am I supposed to stay warm in my house? It's actually a terrible plan. It's not even a terrible plan. It's a lack of plan. So I need to get a fireplace ASAP.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like the houses like just 50 years ago were built with fireplaces and all this stuff just in case something like that happened. And now people are just like, okay, well, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen. So like my house, all the houses in my neighborhood, they're all like electric everything, and a gas fire. We have a gas fireplace, but it's like sort of like a display fireplace. It doesn't really even heat your house. It just kind of has a gas like you can turn it on with a flip of the switch.
Right.
So it's not like it's a real fireplace.
Yeah, it's fake.
Yeah. It looks real. Has like fake logs in it.
I know. I don't know what. I think you can take, since it's got the chute though, or the what do you call it? The flute.
Well, it has like a exhaust.
Since it has an exhaust, I think you can undo that and just use it as a regular fireplace because the smoke's just going to go up just the same, right? Am I right? Or no. Oh, that's right. Because yours doesn't really do smoke.
No, it just allows like the burn off exhaust of this gas to escape into the air.
See, there's some things about us humans that is very stupid. Like we're so freaking, we like totally ignore things that are like will kill us, and we obsess over like things that are totally like optional and pointless. And then
if we had like some kind of satellite system around the Earth that could detect, sun rays, what is that called? Like the coronal mass ejections coming from the sun, or like a meteor coming towards Earth. They could like be a policing system out there that would just like deter all that stuff. Then it would make sense for us to have houses like this.
Sure.
Natural disaster can only be local, but like if a meteor hits the Earth, that's worldwide. Or if a coronal mass ejection knocks out the power grid, that's pretty much worldwide, right?
That's gonna suck, man. That's my problem. I don't like being hassled, and that all just sounds like a very big hassle.
I was listening to Coast to Coast AM radio show, and they said that there was a 3 kilometer long what do you call it, meteorite or whatever, that came in between the Earth and the Moon 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, it's really far away, but that was pretty close in cosmic terms. And the event that killed all the dinosaurs was 1 kilometer. So that 3 kilometer rock that passed by the Earth would have absolutely destroyed all life. The guy that was on the radio was like, it would hit the Earth, it would like gel into the Earth because it would just like hit the Earth and kind of just like sink into the magma. It would seem like it was slow to us. It would take a day or two to happen. But he's like, every living thing on the planet would die in an instant, and there would never be another Earth. The Earth would never exist again. Like it would become a cold rock within a week. So that 3 kilometer size rock almost ended the Earth, and they didn't even see it until like 2 days before it was going to hit. So, I mean, when they saw it, they thought it would hit Earth, but then they calculate, a couple hours after they started calculating the trajectory of it, they knew it was going to miss Earth. But still, we only have like a 2-day notice of our impending complete death. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's always been that way too, right? There's always been this like pending doom.
Yeah, twice a year we go through a rock belt or something like that. It just does the meteor showers. When they talk about meteor showers and stuff?
Yeah.
We go through like this belt of debris, space debris, twice a year. And we could go through this belt of space debris and it'd be like a globe-ending catastrophe. Or even if like a small one hit and just changed the weather worldwide, it would be catastrophic for everyone. It would go from 7 billion to 500 million real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about it, but it's also crazy to think about how long it's been here. I mean, obviously the dinosaurs had some kind of problem, but in the grand scheme of things, there hasn't been that much problems. There's these like earthquakes and tornadoes here and there, and those are bad. But this like impending doom to the whole planet thing, I mean, it's kind of like a paranoid fear in a way, I think. It's easy to get out of hand. Like, it's weird. I've always heard like when you're detoxing from like drugs, certain drugs, you'll have these crazy dreams of like the end of the world and stuff.
Yep.
It's like it's something that's real fundamental down in our consciousness. This like impending doom, kind of Armageddon. Maybe it's the deep knowledge of our own death.
Well, imagine being like a tribal person. Like there's still tribes that live out in the wilderness in like Peru and stuff, right? Just imagine being one of those people, like always looking over your shoulder. Some puma's going to jump on your back.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I guess they probably have additional senses, or not additional senses, but their senses are more fine-tuned in different ways to be aware of things that you and I wouldn't pick up on. You know what I mean?
You hear like
you'd have you'd have like a vibe, a sixth sense. And to them, it's nothing special. It's just the way they've adapted. And of course, we're aware of things that they wouldn't understand or be aware of. So it's just crazy to think how that's different.
I've read a couple American Indian books, and they used to like grow their hair out. Well, I mean, most everyone that was tribal grew their hair out, but they would explain that they would have like a sixth sense because their hair was long. Like if your hair was long, you can feel the wind, and you can tell if something's around you. It's like an antenna.
Yeah. Isn't that what Saint Ohm was talking about too, with the long hair?
Maybe
growing out the hair, getting in tune with the spirit.
Your beard, like everything, you can feel nature with your hair.
Yeah, they're like it's like a cat's whiskers, I guess, like your sensors. That makes sense.
It's kind of like a direct, like your brain's right here and your hair is right here.
Yeah, it's like little antennas picking up energy, and I mean everything's just little balls of energy anyway. So
it's definitely a little woo woo for scientists, though. But
whoop whoop, yeah, a little ahead of its time, maybe, or a little cuckoo.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, just 200 years ago, people were super cuckoo about just spiritual stuff. There's all sorts of different theories about everything. Yeah.
It's not, I mean, there's still craziness today. And science itself even has craziness today that we accept as true, and then we'll laugh about. Of course, we'll be dead, but 200 years, some of the science, like some of the medicine and a lot of stuff will just be hilarious. I mean, it's weird to think about that, like what goes on in our society now that we just think it's normal, but it'll be like funny or thought to be like terrible or oppressive, like down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I listen to
Probably
a lot of
things
those.
you wouldn't think about, maybe some of it.
Like theoretical physicists. People don't even think about what that really means. Theoretical physicists are like people that they think that they know by like scientific tests that parts of an atom can exist in two places at one time.
Yeah, like quantum stuff.
Yeah, quantum. Yeah, all that. I mean, it all sounds like ghosts and stuff. It sounds like outer space
Sure, it
aliens.
sounds like supernatural, weird. Yeah.
And then like someone who actually has a recording of a ghost is like the weird one. But yet these scientists are trying to tell you that there's other dimensions, right?
Well, they say they have scientific proof, and the ghost people just have weird sounds on an audio device.
You know what their scientific proof of dimensions is? I learned the other day is math. They just say, the equation just tells us it's there.
A lot of it is just math based. Yeah, they can prove mathematically that the other dimensions exist. I mean, well, you can do it on paper yourself. You can start with 1 times 1, and then 1 times 2, and then 1 times 3, which we understand. We understand a single point, a line, and then a third dimension, right? So we understand but if you on paper you see there's a times 4, a 5, a 6, and it just goes on and on. But we know we're in the third. So it's weird.
How do we know we're in the third? What does that mean?
Because there's 3 dimensions. There's an X, Y, and a Z axis in our reality.
I got you.
Yeah. So but mathematically we see that it's never ending now. I guess you could say an argument and say, well, that's just math. But the way they see math, these high-end mathematician guys, is they see it as a representation of reality. So they kind of look at it in a different way than we do.
Right.
I've seen some of those equations like drawn out on like a sort of a moving like chart or something, and you see they're making these crazy like patterns and spirals, and you can see it, and it's like, whoa, that's that equation. Mathematicians see that kind of thing in their head. So I would tend to think they're correct in their assumptions.
Well, you look at sacred geometry. This thing that people call sacred geometry.
That's all tied into that. Yeah, sure.
They start seeing whenever they have DMT trips and ayahuasca ceremonies and stuff like that. And then crop circles, even. Like some of the people there's a guy that has I hate doing this on podcasts, but there's a guy who has this podcast. I don't remember either of the names. But he's like a DMT experiencer. And he also has a t-shirt company that sells these shapes. But with every one of the shapes he sees during DMT experiences, he can find a crop circle that matches exactly. So like he'll travel through this, like what will happen when he has his DMT experiences, he'll close his eyes and he'll start seeing these shapes, and they all start to come together in like maybe a big, huge swirl. And then he'll travel through the swirl, and then he'll meet an entity like a green alien or something. Or
like a character from a card deck.
Exactly. Like an ICP card deck.
Yeah, exactly.
And so he'll conversate with that entity for a minute, and then when he's coming out of his DMT trip, like 15 minutes later, he'll pass through that same geometry shape. But then, so he remembers the geometry shape, he'll draw it down, and then he'll go and look at crop circles and stuff. And on some of the times, within a day or two, the same crop circle has been placed in the field, which is kind of wild, right? To think that, and he's never seen the crop circle, and he doesn't know that the crop circle exists.
It couldn't have just been him while he was high on drugs making crop circles.
Yeah, it could be. And I heard
I
also heard there is a legitimate group in Europe that makes crop circles now.
Sure, I mean they're kind of cool. I mean we've seen the corporate advertising crop circles and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean on our episode crop circles, we talked about that. You can go back and look at that. But there was that
alien smoking a pipe or something.
Yeah, there's a group of like 15 people now that have come out and said that they create crop circles. They were like supposedly they wanted it to be super secret for a while, but somebody found them out.
Now, but we know that Insane Clown Posse would tell us that crop circles are miracles.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
These are miracles. Now,
and they know about UFOs too, apparently.
They do know about UFOs. They question it and they realize it's all miraculous universe.
It's real.
And they believe, and they're creationists. They believe that God made it, and the devil. It's kind of like Jedi stuff, really. The way I perceive it, they're not Christian. They're talking about the light and the dark. So they're talking about the good and the light and the dark side of the Force, essentially. Sort of their ghetto, wicked clown way of perceiving it. Now, they've got some serious celebrities involved in their Juggalo gatherings. Like you said, they had Busta Rhymes, Ice Cube, MC Hammer was involved. It's the Juggalo. It's been called the Juggalo Woodstock, the gathering of the Juggalos has. People who claim to be Juggalos who have been at the gathering and performed are Ron Jeremy, the porn star, George Clinton, the 70s funk superstar.
George Clinton. I've seen him live.
Oh, nice. See, so there you go.
Yeah.
You got Ice Cube, Exhibit, the rapper, Gallagher, the cheesy 80s comedian, apparently. He's
Smashes the watermelons.
Yeah, he's down with the clown. Todd Bridges, who was Willis, What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about?
JJ Walker from Good Times.
Wow.
Dustin Diamond. You know who Dustin Diamond is?
Oh, yeah. Holds the diamond up like this?
No. No, Dustin Diamond. Is that what he does? I don't know.
A wrestler or something, right?
No, Dustin Diamond is Screech Powers from
yeah, I knew that. How did I know that?
Saved by the Bell.
What was I thinking of, though?
You're thinking of Diamond Dallas Page.
DDP.
DDP. Yeah.
That was close.
DDP. Whoop, whoop. I mean, they like wrestling. I'm sure DDP is also a Juggalo. Now, also Flava Flav.
Yes.
Mystical.
Did you read the Flava Flav part of that? There's a funny part about the Flava Flav because he was paid like $10,000 or something to be on the album. And
I read something.
They brought him in and they started playing the track, and all he did was talked about. He didn't have like a chorus or like a point. He just started talking about bitches.
Yeah, I read that. There's like 20. There's like $30,000, I think.
Yeah, it might have been $30,000.
And they like did their best to try to edit it and like put it in. Yeah, and then like Ice Cube came in or Ice T and took like 10 or 20 grand and did like a better job or something.
So yeah, exactly. What they did was they like arranged a song for him to come in and redo. So he came in and re-sang, and they called the song "Bitches."
Bitches. And that makes total sense. Just call it bitches and hoes because they have been known to be sexist, by the way. Also, Lil Jon. Yeah, don't
get that wrong.
Busta Rhymes, and Charlie Sheen. I'm sure that was during his stage where he was winning. And then Vanilla Ice is also actually a big time Juggalo. Really? Vanilla Ice also famous for his reality show where he does remodeling work with Amish people.
Now, when Vanilla Ice made his comeback a couple of years, but might have been a few years back at this point, he had a little good heavy metal album there. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he was trying to sound like Korn.
Yeah,
he was trying. I mean, it was like 10 years ago.
But then again, Korn's got some good stuff that came out.
Korn, I was never a big Korn fan, but
I was hell into Korn.
I didn't think they were that good, unfortunately. I still don't really think they're that good, but
the sound wears on you. Yeah, their sound wears on you.
Jonathan Davis, yes.
Yeah.
But Vanilla Ice performed at a pool hall in Hiram one night in like 2004, and we were going to go see him for $5. Yeah, but we didn't go for some stupid reason. We should have gone to that. That would have been a really good thing to do.
I didn't know that.
I mean, we were in Hiram hanging out, and we're like, let's go. And we're like, nah, that's stupid. And now I'm like, dude, why didn't we go to that? You know what I mean?
That would have been awesome.
That would have been hilarious. And that was when he was doing like the whole Korn thing. Now also, let's see. Oh, by the way, Charlie Sheen, I saw today, it's been announced he has HIV.
Charlie Sheen?
Yes.
Huh.
That's hot news off the Juggalo press for you listeners. Charlie Sheen. So I was thinking instead of 2.5 men, you could call it 2.5 years. That's terrible. I know it's too soon. But at least it wasn't a gay joke. It's okay if you make fun of sick people. You just can't make fun of gay people
Yeah, isn't that something like Disney and the whole ICP thing? Like Disney had gay days at Disneyland, right?
Yes, they had Gay Pride Day. Yes,
but then like they were like banning ICP songs at the same time. It's kind of contradictory, right?
No, I mean yes and no. One is promoting violence and murder. Another is just people showing their sexuality. I don't know. They're not like It's not pedophile day, like some people think it is.
Like if you're looking at it the Christian view,
if you're a conservative Christian,
society is gays and the music.
Yeah, but realistically, if you're a really serious Christian, you shouldn't like Disney.
Gays and profanity.
You really should not like Disney. If you actually read the Bible and believe it's true, you should have a problem with Disney because it actually completely goes against it in some ways, in more very subtle ways, which is of course how most people would believe that the devil, assuming the devil is real, that the devil would be very subtle. Much like Insane Clown Posse says, it's like a manifestation of your dark self. So it knows your deepest, darkest desires, and it's a small world after all.
But yeah, like all the early Disney films, like compare it to books of the Bible, right? Or like Snow White is Jesus and the witch is devil, something like that. And the apple is like a metaphor from Adam and Eve.
The symbol for original sin, sure. Biting into the apple. I mean, there's all kind of metaphor stuff. Of course, also in Snow White, which, we probably shouldn't go too far into this, but apparently Disney went to the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, we're preluding our podcast.
Yeah, implemented some owl heads into the Snow White artwork and their cabin. So that's interesting. Interesting information, insider scoops from Q the A podcast. Now, there are some Juggalo nonprofit organizations, actually. It's kind of cool. There's one called Juggalos Making a Difference, JMAD. And they try to help, people in need and trouble, trying to get them rehab, get them help, get them a job.
JMAD.
JMAD. You JMAD, brah? Whoop, whoop. My JMAD family, my ninja. A lot of my ninja talk. I don't know what that means.
I think it's Wigger. It's Wigger language for I'm white.
Oh, whoop, whoop. There's the Dead Stephanie Memorial Cleanup, which is a group that cleans up trash at the concerts because of some girl who died from diabetes in 2008 while she was in high school, who was a big-time Juggalo. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. And then, let's see, we also got the Hatchet House and Community Outreach, which is in the rough side of Buffalo's east side. They help Juggalos in crisis. So any of you Q the A podcast listeners who are Juggalo in need in the east side of Buffalo, New York, you can call the Hatchet House and Community Outreach. But all the other people, sorry, you can't call them.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like a church saying, unless you're a Christian, you can't get any help from us.
Got to be. Well, they'll help any Juggalo in need as long as you're, geographically.
Your face is painted.
I'm sure if you Google search some Juggalo nonprofit or community outreach, you're going to find some information, hopefully. Or I wonder if you just need to get help because you're addicted to Insane Clown Posse music. So I don't know if they'll help you with that.
So they had their own movie at one point, ICP, right?
Oh yeah, they made a country western movie actually, and I think there might have even been a sequel, and I actually downloaded it a few years ago and watched some of it. It was so silly and just kind of. It's clearly made for people who are really big fans of the band, because otherwise, I mean, you're just like, what the heck is this, dude? It's just a total ICP Western. I mean,
they had a movie called Big Money Hustlers in 2000.
Yeah, that was it. Big Money Hustlers.
Then in 2010, they came out with one called Big Money Rustlers.
Right, so that must be the sequel that I'm describing. Yeah. I recommend you check it out if you're interested. It's definitely a Juggalo Western.
They were on Mad TV. They were on Tosh.0.
Tosh.0.
And then they have a TV series called ICP Theater. Kind of like...
what?
Yeah, kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, there's what was that I sent you the other day? A Kickstarter program for Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Trying to restart the TV series, and they
I
want an enormous amount of money to do it. Did you see? Did you watch the video?
No.
The video, they're like, oh, we want to bring Mystery Science Theater back, and it's like the director, he's talking to everyone. He's like, we need $3 million for 3 episodes and $6 million for 12 episodes. I was like, what the hell? Like, you don't even do anything in that show. You literally have like 3 cartoon characters sitting in the front watching an already made movie and commenting like comedically about the movie. You're literally like 3 dudes sitting and watching a movie. Why do you need $3 million to make 3 episodes, dude? I don't understand.
Yeah, they gotta pay some bills, man.
I think he wants to get rich off the Kickstarter, and
it
then
seems like the thing. Seems like the kind of thing Netflix would do. It seems like a project Netflix would like. I mean, to me.
So they did talk about. He talked about so a couple of the people that didn't want to take it, like NBC or something, Comcast. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, everybody go check that out. Kickstarter, MST 3000.
So I guess that's about it for Juggalos. I mean,
Juggalos,
and not just Juggalos. Insane Clown Posse, their whole universe.
You go check out Miracles.
Psychopathic Writers record label. You know, I think they've got big stuff. I see big stuff coming out of these guys. They're not going anywhere. That's for sure. Although it's not for sure. Sorry, there's no plan that I'm aware of. They might break up though, man. You never know. You never know. So what else has been up, man? I've been watching that show, The Leftovers. I'm about halfway through season 2.
What is it on again? Showtime? Or?
It's an HBO show.
HBO.
It's based on this event that happens around the world where people just disappear, just like vanish. Not like they're kidnapped, like they just poof, they're gone. So of course, religious people start talking about it being the rapture.
Yeah.
And but then there's a preacher in the show he's telling people like, no, these people were like, they weren't good people. Like it was just random. It wasn't like they were the true Christians or whatever. Like all these people had all these problems, and it's really mysterious. I don't want to give it away. It's just it's a really weird. There's a cult on there, and they all wear all white. And they don't talk. They just smoke cigarettes, and they write things on pieces of paper to communicate with each other.
So they got cigarette money.
Yeah, they all live together in these like cul-de-sac, like cookie cutter suburban neighborhoods. It's based on a book series called The Leftovers, and the writer is the executive producer of the show. So I assume it's similar to the books. I looked it up. They weren't available for audiobooks, so I didn't check it out.
The movie industry is still highly tied down by the tobacco industry. Like really? You'll notice, it's like a big mind control program.
People smoking in movies.
You'll notice that, like they can't do it in TV. Well, I'm sure they can on like TV series,
HBO,
like Netflix TV shows or something like that.
Yeah, but like on a mainstream network. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right. So in movies, you'll see it a lot. People just like burning away. Like nobody smokes anymore. I don't even see anybody smoking anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, I know people who do still, but
maybe behind like a Chinese restaurant or something, you see a couple people smoking.
It's definitely thought to be very disgusting these days. Yeah,
I mean,
it gets frowned upon.
But you know what? When you're in the moment, like you're a smoker. I was a smoker for 14 years, by the way. It doesn't taste like there's no disgusting part about it. You just like trying to get your nicotine.
Yeah, you like it.
Everything else is like a blur. But when you quit for a couple of years, when you quit, it takes like literally like a couple of years for you to really realize that how idiotic smoking was. Like everything about it just was stupid. It just smells bad. It made your breath stink, and your clothes and your pets hate you. You can't smoke around your kids. You have to go outside in the cold. You can't smoke in your house.
Yeah, it's terrible. There's so many downsides to being a smoker, man.
Like always afraid of burning your bed.
Although I will say, like, I don't really smoke cigarettes, and but when I'm out playing some like disc golf, man, I enjoy a cigarette sometimes, like once a month I'll have a cigarette.
No,
and I like it. I don't think it's that gross.
Once a year.
Yeah, like you're at a party on New Year's or whatever, right? Just people are having a cigarette. It's like, all right, woohoo! But yeah, usually like halfway through, I'm like, I don't really want the rest.
It's crazy. Is like,
it's still very relaxing.
You can be addicted to cigarettes for like 14 years, like me, and then after a couple of years, you can have like 1 or 2 cigarettes, and it doesn't mean anything.
Well, we can, but other people can't. I mean,
some people can't.
Everybody's got their issues.
It's like beer or liquor, right? You get addicted to alcohol, and then like you quit. Some people can go back and just have a drink or two, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever your vice is, you're probably gonna have a problem with it.
Let's see.
You know what I mean? Probably being celibate would be the same. It's like you don't have sex for 5 years and you're good. And all of a sudden you do it once and you're a freaking pervert all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
I've realized that food addiction is way bigger than anything I ever imagined.
Oh, food addiction is a big deal. Yeah, it's very comforting for people. Oh, for you even?
But yeah, I mean, if you've ever done like a fast, has anybody have you ever done a fast?
Right. No.
Like if you do a fast for 40 days, you instantly start the first day, you just can't. You hit headaches and you're dreaming of having a tea again or something, or a coffee or whatever it is for that person. So instantly you're addicted to something, and it could be like the processed sugar or the caffeine or whatever. I mean, even like when I quit meat, just the meat alone, you start having like withdrawals. You don't have like your calorie source anymore, the hormones that you're ingesting or whatever.
That's got to
be. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I think that seems to me that would be one of the bigger shifts is getting away from meat, because that's just like so fundamental to your intake up to the point where you stop taking it.
What's funny is that when I was a meat eater, I was like fall asleep driving almost, like this tired in the afternoon type thing. And as soon as I quit, I was tired for like 3 or 4 days, and then like this insane amount of energy just takes over, and it never goes away. So like every day you just eat vegetables and stuff, and you can eat vegetables for lunch, and usually like 2 or 3. Sometimes you get tired, if you're at a computer job, even you'll get like tired because you had your chicken Chipotle or whatever, your chicken bowl at Chipotle. You start getting tired, but vegetables aren't like that. They just like kind of go through you. But and then so once I did that for a little bit, it's like, well, what else changes? So you learn about like raw food, and then you learn about like people that juice all the time, and then there's that 40-day fasting. Like Jesus 40-day fasted for 40 days, like once a year, which is a period called Lent, right?
Well, I think it was when he fasted, or he was in the desert getting tempted and fasting, something like that. Yeah.
40 days, 40 nights, something like that, right? So, and then like the flood is 40 days and 40 nights as well.
It's not Alibaba and the 40 Thieves?
I don't know the story exactly, but you're more of the religion guy than I am.
It's probably all of them.
Google it in like 5 seconds. But so I did a fast for 10 days and I couldn't even handle it.
Right.
It was way too much for me. So, that's when you start realizing how addictive food is. And just so Mormons, like they believe a lot of that. They believe that, so they don't have like tea because it has a chemical in it that not even just for the caffeine. It was the caffeine, and there's like another chemical in it that addicts you.
Anything addictive.
Yeah. So they're like, we know some Mormon families in this area, and and they eat an entirely whole foods diet. So they make their own stuff from scratch. They won't buy anything in a box. Like,
yeah,
they don't buy spaghetti. They'll make their own spaghetti if they do it. It takes like these all day processes to make stuff.
It's crazy too. A lot of them, they're not really big into homeschooling either. They're like real big into the family, and they're real big into their religion.
Well, that's how we met them.
They all go to public school because they're part of their belief is to live like within the world. It's not to like avoid the world.
Misnomer, my friend, misnomer. Because the only
not all of them. They're all different.
The reason that they have their own sects, that's for sure. Sects, SECT.
Well, they have their own sects as well.
Yes, they have. They're definitely Mormon sects. So they're the ones we met because our kids were homeschooled at the same time for a little while, and that's how we met them. It's because we were in a homeschool group with the Mormons.
Oh, I know about the homeschool groups.
We were in a homeschool group, and like a lot of the Mormons came to the homeschool group and played baseball and all this stuff with other kids. So that's how we met them. And there's a lot of them in my area, a lot of Mormons in my area. They do almost all of them homeschool, at least, one, if not all their children.
I mean, the Mormons they're everywhere. And it's funny because Christians don't accept them.
Right.
But ironically, they accept Christians. So,
and they have their own wacky little beliefs because they, they're like John, what was his name? John Smith or something like that?
Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
They have a New Testament that he revealed from an angel or something like that. He was given special glasses or some kind of magnifying glass type device, and he could read these gold plates that had some very radical teachings on them. These plates that the angel showed him, which of course after he read them and translated them, the angel took them back to heaven. So there's no
proof. Yeah.
Right, but they say that it says in the book that it's true when you feel like the burning in your bosom. So they have this burning, they feel it, they know it's true. It's interesting. It's no wackier than a lot of religions.
I love how people just focus in on the polyamorous thing. But but
they overlook how Moses and Abraham and all of them were all polygamists with multiple wives, and Solomon and had a harem. It's just cultural.
Or like the 40 virgins in heaven thing, they're all
sure.
It all seems like they're. And I wonder, like,
dude, it's because it's freaking men.
Like in Egyptian times,
men want to just have sex with tons of women, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, come on,
it's true.
I don't know why you'd want to be married to multiple wives. I mean, dude, you and I are married. I don't want 2 wives, much less 5 wives.
But then again, you'd be living in like a tribal situation where you could just like.
That's true. I kind of just come and go.
Punch the fuck out of them.
Well, I don't want to go doing all that, but
we wouldn't do it in this day and age. But you can imagine like these tribal people would just smack the fuck out of them.
Well, and also too, if they accept that lifestyle, then they're not going to be opposed to your other wives. It's just going to be normal to them. So those would be like their friends. So they won't be like all up on your junk asking where you are all the time because they'll be occupied with their other sister wives or whatever, right?
Sure, yeah.
So and you just go to the bar and you come home and you're on a regular scheduled nightly rotation with your wives. I mean, have you ever watched
that's the Big Love?
Love. Yeah, Big Love, man. That's pretty correct, I think.
No. But I mean, in India, you just get assigned a husband. You're just like,
well,
and then you can get assigned a few.
But that's another religion.
Yeah.
Mormonism is freaking American.
Can you imagine how awesome
that's an American religion right there?
Imagine how awesome it is for a woman to live in America right now. I mean, like,
it's better than ever.
Out of all the thousands of years of just a woman being totally dominated.
I mean, it's a better time than ever for some places, and it's all relative though, because some people think it's the worst, some people think it's terrible.
I mean, you can still. No, America's got to be the best place for them because in like Japan, there's still like enormous like.
I don't know. I think Europe's fine. Most Europe.
Yeah.
From what I know.
Well, yeah, you got to think about which countries exactly.
Yeah, which country, but for the most part, I mean, it's pretty. Well, it's all the EU now, though, so it almost is like one country with different states. They don't want to admit it, but it's kind of true.
You know what's funny is our buddy Don Cooper. He was on our previous. I've kind of pissed him off a little bit with my ideas about.
Bernie Sanders.
Free market, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, he's not going to be down with that. He's a freaking anarchist.
He's a free marketer. He's a free marketeer.
I agree with him a lot, but he's extreme,
But I kind of pissed him off.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Would you give him some
our buddy Doug Cooper.
Did you throw some memes at him or something?
Actually, I was kind of trolling him a little bit. I don't know. I agree with him a little bit, but I was just like making him because free marketeers are sort of like they're like Republican Democrat. You have to be on one side or another. You can't if you believe in free market, you cannot believe in anything else.
Right. You can't be moderate apparently these days. Being moderate's not allowed.
You're a free marketeer. You dissolve all the government and let the free market take over. Right.
Yeah.
And so I disagree with that. I mean, I said something about if we didn't have education system in the United States, we would be like, it'd be like North Africa or something. We would 10% of the population educated, and the rest of us would be like serfs under some kind of feudal system, because nobody would be educated, right? The top tier would have taken over the bottom tier real quick and enslaved us, basically, which is kind of what we're at right now. But it took them quite a while to do it, 100 years or something.
Well,
it didn't just take over in like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, it's all relative. These are all just beliefs that.
So I was just messing with them. Yeah, there's examples of that when it happens. It happens like all over the place. But anyways, we can get into that later on.
Well, no, and I agree with that. So so basically, it depends on. I mean, you're saying if you make it totally free and open, that you're pessimistic, saying that the bad guys will take over, which to me is just the same. And I agree. You can't have extreme anarchy because the bad guys take over. But the problem is that with extreme socialism, you're kind of setting up the same thing. You're just giving the government like tons of power over the individual and taking away their rights. So you kind of have to find a balance in the middle. I think the Sanders approach is extreme, and I think the Ron Paul approach is extreme. Both are good in certain ways. They both want to legalize, marijuana. They both agree on certain things. They both agree on some of the foreign policy issues.
If anything, Obama taught us a lesson when he got elected, is that you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, and you just do it, and then you just do whatever you want,
And then you get into office, and you can't do any of it, right?
Or you just never wanted to in the first place. I mean, you
played the DVD that shows that you're run by the Illuminati.
That's true. They're like, let's do, yeah.
The reptiles, we're going to allow it, right?
They shapeshift into reptiles and tell you what's going on. And but then they probably make you aware that you were a reptile the whole time too, and you didn't even know it. So they show you how to shapeshift, and now you're part of their group. And then you eat some babies, and
Well, he made a couple of changes, right? He made a universal health care, and so whenever you have universal health care, he puts in all these things that are like super socialist. But over the course of like 3 or 4 years, a lot of that stuff's been taken out, knocked down. But Supreme Court rules it's not constitutional. So then, Bernie Sanders comes up and he says, "Well, I'm going to make colleges free." But what he's really saying is, I want public colleges to be free, like technical institutes, so he's going to make that free, right?
Well, it's going to be
a certain income to make it free.
For. The free word is incorrect. Right. It's going to be paid for.
It's going to be paid for. And so like people that make less than $35,000 a year are going to be able to go for free. Or whatever. Those are all the rules that are starting to come out about it. Yeah.
You don't stop using the word free. There is no free. Free is bull crap propaganda term.
It will be paid for by taxes.
Paid for by other people. So it's fine if you talk about it, what's really happening, and then it's fine. We're talking about other people paying for your college. But when people say, I want free college, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, but the more you talk about it correctly, the more you can actually perceive what's really happening.
Can you imagine people saying the same thing about elementary school back in the day, like in the 1800s? Whenever it was private?
Well, sure. I mean, same with libraries and police and roads and firemen and there's definitely some, and even libertarian people who can be libertarian agree that a lot of these things need to be there. They believe in minimal government. They don't believe in no government. You know what I mean? It's just like governments. So there's no government, and then it just starts to go up, right? Mm-hmm. And then it just gets to a certain. So obviously, it's helpful to a certain extent, and then it goes too far. So you don't want it to get there. But that's the relative idea. Where is the point where it's perfect? People want to keep pushing it right, and people want to keep pushing it left.
I'd say where we are right now is probably.
But the problem is when it's right in the middle, most people aren't happy, or at least they don't want you to think so.
Yeah, there's always some utopia people are trying to push.
But the system is intentionally designed to make it, well, of course it could all be a scam. That's the other potential, which is probably true. But assuming it's real, the idea is that it balances itself out, which makes it very slow and inefficient. But at the same time, it doesn't get too extreme left or right.
Do we live in the best version of the scam?
I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, we're white men, so I'm sure it's been good for us in this country for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like the military runs the world. Or the United States military uses the United States as a platform to run the world.
Well, they're the world police. I mean,
yeah, they are really. I saw an article just today, I think on Facebook feed, that said the United States has occupying forces in 150 countries, or like active boots on the ground or something like that. I can't remember what it was, like police forces in 150 countries, and that might be just bases. True. Yeah, it might just be bases or some kind of oversight of the country that they're in, or something.
Right. So obviously, if they cut out, and that's always an obvious argument, is if you get out of this freaking ridiculous military-based system, we could have a lot more money to do a lot of other things,
right,
for our citizens and for other. But whatever, it's
like 1 year of buying airplanes could pay.
It's all pointless to talk about if you. Yeah. But the thing is, if you believe in reptilians or something like that, it's all pointless to talk about this, because that's all just part of the scam, is to get you to believe this bullcrap lie that we have a say-so and that the system can change. So they want you to keep arguing about the system is part of what they want you to do, I think. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of brilliant on their part, actually. I'm very impressed.
I wouldn't doubt the Illuminati is just a metaphor. They're just trying to point you into this group Illuminati, but it's really the all-seeing eye of the government or the military-industrial complex.
To me, so the Illuminati in a weird way connects to the Dark Carnival ICP discussion, where it's like this sort of kind of weird illusion that's actually generated out of your own true self, like your own dark self or whatever. To me, I get the vibe that's the Illuminati. The concept of the Illuminati is part of us. It's part of the dark part of our human consciousness as a collective and as our individual. Because like I said, when you start meditating and stuff, you come across these almost like inner conspiracies within yourself. You know what I mean?
I've been doing we're gonna get into meditation, but I've been I'm doing guided meditation, because my dad said I don't know if my listeners know this, but my dad is a hypnotherapist. Like, he hypnotizes people, takes them into past lives, and tries to find out what their issues are and heals them through past life therapy.
Right.
And so he's got he claims to do things that nobody's ever done with hypnotherapy, but maybe that'll be another episode or something. But when you do guided meditation, it's much safer in his view, because when you do regular meditation, you can have spirits attached to you while you're in a meditative state, because you've lowered some kind of guard, like some kind of spirit guard, when you go into meditation and stop thinking, right?
Oh, weird. Spirit guard.
He sent me a long email, and I might have forwarded you this, Eon, some time ago, about surrounding yourself in a white light before you do a meditation. And so I was doing a guided meditation. What's today? Today is Monday. So I was doing it yesterday morning. And I was doing this guided meditation. The guy's like, relax your face, relax. And it's exactly the same stuff you do whenever you're getting taken into a past life hypnotism. Relax your face, your ears, your neck, you can lay down, you can sit up. So I got a meditation pillow, so I'm sitting. So I'm pretty good at meditation. Like, I don't think much when I'm in meditation. I can just kind of zone in and listen to the background music and just be like, nice music. And I just don't, like, I have a thought come up and I'll just go, nope, nope, nope. And it'll go away.
Yeah, you just kind of watch it flow by, like pretend it's like a bubble and just like burst it.
So he's doing this exercise where you're imagining people's faces, loved ones that might be passed on or something like that. People that you love, imagine their faces. And in my mind, I can see them really, really clearly, like really 3D, like.
Yeah.
And then so like this dark veil started closing in my brain.
Oh, really? It's coming in at you.
It's kind of like a darkness instead of a lightness. And so I had to, so I kind of like remembered what my dad said about surrounding yourself in a white light, and I just kind of stopped and went, I thought, I'm going to surround myself in white light now. And then all the faces kind of went away, and the glowing light came in. So, you got to wonder, like, is there any truth to that? There's a book that I have on it's the author's name is Edith Fiore, and her book came out in like the 1980 or 1982.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah, she was very famous. She was like she did like the rounds on TV for a very long time. But she has a number of books. But the first book, she's a past life person as well. Like she was some sort of psychotherapist, right? Just like a normal psychiatrist that just kind of fell into past lives. Like she was taking someone into hypnosis to try to do smoking or something like that.
Right. And she stumbled upon it.
Right. Which a lot of classically trained college people will claim, so they don't sound like they're woo-woo kind of out there people.
Right.
But anyway, she after a while, like after a couple of years, she was asking questions and she was like kind of exploring, and she fell into this one person who had like 50 spirit attachments, like spirits that have, people who have died, who have attached themselves, who didn't go to the light.
Right, which I'm not totally 100% believer on, but okay. Sounds like Scientology as well.
When you hear about people having near-death experiences, the light takes them. They don't have to. There's no way that they can even stay. Right. Right. Light just takes them. But in these people, these spirits just kind of hang out in the afterlife. They don't know how to go to the light.
They're like in purgatory.
Yeah, my dad totally believes in it. He's like, he hypnotized someone once when I was in the room, and the guy that he was hypnotizing said I had spirits attached to me, right next to me. Like I was sitting, He's like, I can see your aura. Oh, there's spirits attached to your aura.
You think there was true, or are you just listening to these guys?
I mean, it's just what they say.
Right.
But, I mean, then you hear stories like the Edith Fiore, and they kind of confirm exactly what were happening in front of you. Like I was a witness to that. It wasn't something like I believe in UFOs or I believe in, this. I was actually there and I saw it happen, and people said it to me. So
sure. Okay.
So it's a little different for me than people just like listening to this podcast. And but and my dad once hypnotized a guy with my brother Vance in the room, and my brother had spirit attachments, and one was like bad memory, like this guy who had bad memory or something, like a spirit who when he was a person had bad memory or didn't know where he was or was very lethargic, right? So he sent that spirit to the light, and my brother was like a genius. He had a 1600 SAT score,
Right.
So my dad claims that that was all based on that hypnotist session.
Right. I remember I think you told this story in an earlier podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, your brother, because he actually, you said he had like something special about him psychically or something, right?
Right. Then so handwriting analysis also goes into that. Like if you have
on that show, the Leftovers, there's people like that who have these special powers, sort of, and like one guy will like look at your handprint and he can tell your fortune or whatever, and other people think that they're scammers,
Well, even like iridology. Have you ever heard of that? Iridology is like the iris and how your colors of your eye and
I guess it's
spikes in your iris can
that
tell.
Makes sense. I never heard of that, but that makes sense. I mean, just the idea of like an eyeball scan or whatever.
You look at your palm, and if like there's something strange about your palm, like I don't know, like this little thing right here, like this little spike in my hand, they'll say that you're gonna have a long life or something.
Right. Yeah, of course.
You're set up for a long life anyway.
Yeah, I've seen like charts that claim certain things and show hands and what they mean.
If you only have like one line on your hand, then that means you're gonna have you're genetically set up for disease or something,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there are some diseases that actually have a certain unique creases in the hand, so maybe that's part of where that comes from.
So iridology
but
is
people
like
just see. I mean, it's just people see patterns and make connections over the years.
I don't remember the point I was going to make with the spirit attachment thing, but so you have like these spirits that are attached to you, changing your thoughts and actions and all that junk.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. That's just like the same. I mean, it's the same old story. Things tempting you. You see it in all the religions and all the.
Yeah, that's what we were getting back to. Was the religions and how you can get the meditation thing, right? So we're talking about meditation, spirit attachment. So,
yes. Speaking of which, how long has this podcast been? We're getting into the nether regions.
We're at about 2 hours.
I think we're almost 2.5.
No, we started at 5:30 Eastern time. Yeah, maybe 2.5.
Okay, yeah, then we're at 2.5.
Okay.
All right, well, I gotta wrap it up. It's time to wrap it up. We got the Juggalo thing pretty good there. Insane Clown Posse. Whoop whoop.
All right, so if any of you have ideas for the podcast, let us know. I think we're gonna do maybe Disney next, right?
I don't know about next, but it's planned out. We're gonna do a meditation episode. Gonna try to get my brother.
Right.
He's gonna be in the 12-hour time difference on us, so we're gonna try to make that happen.
We've been looking to expand the podcast a little too, right?
Yeah, we're looking at some options, so we'll see what happens.
Optional podcasts and little midweek type things.
Yeah, we'll see. Whatever's meant to be will be. So, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny because we have people that want to be on the podcast, and like, we're just kind of lazy about it.
Well, we just do what we can when we can. We're busier than other times.
Well, that's another
thing. Get our schedules to sync up sometimes, and
I've been super busy at work like the past 3 weeks or something.
Right, and it's hard to between me and you. We only have certain nights that are free, and those aren't necessarily the same nights. So, in the meantime, we just try to think about future episodes and ideas, and then hopefully we do it. Hopefully, or maybe we don't. I don't know. And as to our listeners, if there's something about our podcast you don't like, I encourage you to go do your own podcast, and I'd like to check that out. Send me the link. That'd be pretty cool too, because that's how we did this. We just made it up, pulled it out of our butts, and started doing it.
We've got a long list of potential ideas for podcasts.
Yeah, we got some ideas.
Whatever we want, whatever our listeners, or maybe we'll have you on or something too.
We'll see if I can. I always get burned out on stuff, so I don't see myself lasting more than 2 years on this. But we'll see what happens. Every 2 years, I get bored with something. But maybe we can ride this. I don't know how we can have enough topics for 2 years.
All we gotta do is just change it up, man. We're just like
Where are we at? We're at like 5 months, 6 months now, or something.
I had an idea for a podcast. I'll just put it out there. You know how like people just like run it, like you go to a party and you just like see somebody across the room and you're like, hey, that guy would probably be cool, right? And you just walk up to him and like strike up a conversation or something. You like got a beer. You're like, hey, dude, how's it going, man? I want to do a podcast where people just like meet each other. Just put a 360 mic in the middle of the table and be like, you two talk.
Sure, that would be kind of interesting. You just listen to people meet each other.
Just be like some right-wing Christian will meet some devil worshiper, and they'll just
you guys just start talking.
Yeah, be cool
about whatever you want to talk about.
Because they'll find common ground real quick. They don't want to get in a fight, most of the time.
Or you could give them some kind of question to get them propel their conversation.
Sure. What's your name?
Just get it going. What do you think about, or what do you think about such and such? Go.
My name is Habib. My name is Bubba.
Bubba.
What are you doing?
But anyway, that sounds like an interesting concept. I guess I'm gonna.
Yeah, I had an idea of doing it. There's a storytelling that I go to in Atlanta.
Yeah.
just get some people together. Do it.
Storytelling.com.
.org.
Of course, it's nonprofit.
All right, home
All
slice.
right. Well, I'm going to call it a night, man. We're at 2.5 hours. It's one of our longer ones. Hope you guys liked it.
Yeah,
we learned about the Insane Clown Posse and the Juggalos a little more than you did before.
Miracles. It's a miracle.
Freaking miracles all up in this. All right, guys. Have a good week. We're going to have another episode for you shortly.
QDA podcast. QDA.com. Oh, wait.
QDA.
What?
Facebook.com/QDA podcast.
Twitter.com/QDA.
Twitter.com. QDA podcast at gmail.com for all your questions, comments, complaints, concerns, recommendations. We'd love some podcast episode ideas. Anyway, you guys have a great week.
Attaboy.
Later.